If you've ever been ready to kick off the NFL draft, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Of course, we have Thursday's session to get through and a lot to get through because we had a huge night of earnings last night, headlined by Tesla. Of course, IBM, Texas Instruments, QuantumScape also reporting. We had American Express report this morning. We're going to have Intel report later tonight. So a lot going on market-wise before we get to the fun stuff in the evening here. But it's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. And woke up today to some red arrows in the pre-market. And again, given what we've seen recently with the move, not unexpected. Actually, it looks like we're kind of trading sideways. However, we are up off the lows again. Up off the lows here. In fact, the market is trying to go red-green as we speak. So we'll see what kind of day we have in store for us this morning. Red arrows early, quickly turning to green. Will it hold? That's the question. How will some of the stocks that reported earnings yesterday trade? What news bombs will we get today? That's all part of the surprise. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Thursday, you guess you could call it the NFL draft edition. The Thursday edition for April 23rd, 2026 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your hump day and Wednesday afternoon. We're back for another session here as we barrel one day closer to the weekend. And to another big week of earnings next week. A lot of the hyperscalers next week, and then Apple. We got a lot coming up here. We are right in the thick of things. Great to see everyone returning here. Richard Judge is first here today. Good morning. Good morning to you, Judge. Keep it up. Keep it up. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. It's great to see you as always. Buffalo by Bicycle, likewise. Good morning. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. You the man. Janie, it's great to see you as always. Likewise for Astro Kev. Good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Zach McCracken, good morning. Cam, good morning. Wiss, good morning. Corey, good morning. Corey says, happy draft day. Indeed. I'm an NFL nerd. I don't know what to tell you. This is one of my favorite days of the year. I love the stories. I love these young athletes realizing their dreams, and then obviously rooting for my own football team to get better and all of that. Fun day ahead. Glad we are here to celebrate it. Producer, good morning. Thanks for all you do. I know it's early and there's a rush before we get open here, but could not do this without you, my man. Marionette, good morning. Great to see you. Thanks for all of your feedback. Acorns, good morning. Acorn says, man, Claude AI has been the best for stocks. Exclamation point. Acorns, I'm curious for a little bit more detail there. Is it information about looking up stocks? Is it just the timeliness of it? Do you have it doing tasks for you, like generating reports? We actually had a gentleman in our happy hour use different AI tools. I believe Claude was one of them, to look through all of his charts and alert him to when something was happening based on the chart drawing. So when a price enters a channel, or when a moving average crosses another moving average, or something of that nature. So very curious to know what your experience is with AI. Please share it with the group. Your ideas might help others have other ideas. And I know with this whole AI thing, the actual benefit is totally unrealized so far. I'm sure there's plenty of great things that we can do. So let me know specifically what it is that you found helpful. That's really cool to hear. Pachi, good morning from sunny UK. Glad it's sunny over there. Glad you don't have the maritime weather. Hopefully all is well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time out. I think probably your afternoon by then. Thank you for joining us here. Bernhard, good morning. Brian, good morning. Brian, Jets, Giants, 2 picks each. What's going to happen tonight? I need your spiciest prediction. Dirkus, good morning. What's going on? Great to see you again. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. Lion, good morning as always. Welcome back. Dan Nick, good morning. It's great to see you. Oklo, partnership with NVIDIA. You know what, Bri? I didn't even have that on my list here. Let me add Oklo to my notepad. I feel like that's definitely something we should cover, no? Feel like that's definitely something we should cover. Oklo added. We'll take a look at that. Jay Wild, good morning. Welcome back. Me every time. Good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Just passing through. Good morning. I see my K. Good morning. First shout out. Well, good morning and welcome First shout out applause for that. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for getting up early. Sorrel, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, it's always good to see you. Good morning and welcome back. Kenneth, good morning. And Ethan, good morning. All right, folks, let's kick it off with our stock market today. All right, futures red across the board ahead of Thursday's open, but we'll see how long that lasts. If it does indeed last, all of the indexes are off their lows from the overnight session and from this morning's pre-market session. S&P futures only down 0.11% now. Dow futures down 0.32%. And the NASDAQ futures about to go green here, down 0.05%. So looks like things are changing here in the morning. We'll see how that happens, or we'll see what happens when we get the opening bell. Now, definitely want to take a look at some cues from last session here. Information technology, energy, and communication services recorded the biggest surge on Wednesday, while real estate, industrials, and financials declined. U.S. stock futures declined on Thursday morning following another record-breaking surge on Wednesday. Futures of major benchmark indices were lower at the time of this writing as peace efforts in the Iran war stalled amid seizures of vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. On Wednesday, the Dow Jones Index closed 341 points higher after President Trump extended the ceasefire indefinitely, calling a seriously fractured government in Tehran. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.31%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.8%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are still pricing in a 99.5% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged in April. That meeting is next week. All right, we have several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one should be obvious. It is indeed Tesla. Tesla reported better than expected first quarter financial results on Wednesday after the market closed. Tesla reported first quarter revenue of $22.71 billion, which was up 16% year over year. Tesla, however, declined 3.03% in pre-market trading. So initially, Tesla popped after its earnings yesterday. It ended up giving those gains back in the after-hour session and is lower here today. So I'm curious to see if Tesla can actually hold this low, very much like the market is trying to do, and trade back up. Boeing is the next stock on our list. That reported better than expected results for the first quarter on Wednesday. The company reported first quarter revenue of $22.22 billion. That was up 14% year over year and above the $21.78 billion estimate. Boeing was declining 0.42% in pre-market trading here today. The next stock on our list is going to be Intel, and the ticker on this one is INTC. That is actually slated to report earnings of 1 cent per share on revenue of $12.37 billion in the first quarter after the closing bell today. Intel was up today in pre-market trading. The next stock on our list is going to be Texas Instruments, ticker TXN. It reported better than expected results for the first quarter on Wednesday after hours. The company reported first quarter revenue of $4.83 billion, which was up 19% year over year, while earnings per share stood at $1.68. TXN surged 10.67% this morning. We'll see if that continues its strength today. The next stock on our list is going to be Lockheed Martin. And Wall Street analysts expect Lockheed Martin, ticker LMT, to report earnings of $6.72 per share in the first quarter before the opening bell. Lockheed Martin was up 0.42% in early trading. Lockheed's report has since come out. It traded down to 510, where it looks like it held, or I guess I have a low print here of 514, so right around that 510, 515 area. Looks like it's trying to recover that move down here. It's retraced about 50% of that so far. We'll see how Lockheed Martin does here today. Next stock on our list is going to be ServiceNow, and the ticker on this one is NOW. It extended losses to drop more than 13.5% in pre-market trading, fell 14% on Wednesday after the software company flagged a drag in subscription revenue that they cited was because of the ongoing Middle East conflict. The last stock on our list is Big Blue, and that's, of course, IBM. The ticker is IBM. Stock dropped 8.6% in trading before the bell as the software company beat analysts' first quarter earnings expectations, but maintained its outlook due to the macro uncertainty. let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we are at. We are staying in the same spot here. And I got to be honest, the longer that we do this type of thing on a daily time frame here, the more I think we are probably going to pop to the upside. We had a huge rally off of the lows recently. I think we had 13 straight days of green. We ended up breaking out from a trend line that connected a bunch of highs. And now, not only did we backtest this trend line, but we're actually trading sideways above this trend line. And again, just kind of looking at the performance here this morning, we were a little bit lower on some of the macro headlines here in the pre-market, but right now, going for red-green, S&P futures only down 0.04% now. That continues to get better. We'll see. And the NASDAQ still flirting with red-green as we speak. So despite some of the weakness here, it does look like we're kind of trading sideways here. This is great because we've done this over a breakout level. The longer we do this, I think the more likely we are to pop higher. Now, if we do not pop higher, anything's possible. If we do not pop higher, we would look for another retest of the trend line. And if that breaks, we're probably going to go down to the next trend line, which is a downward sloping one. That support should be at 690-ish. We'll see where it actually ends up finding support. And if we continue to have a move down, we're going to have the 100, the 50, and the 20 to compete with before we have a potential gap fill that doesn't fill until 660-ish. So there's definitely some room down to some of these other support levels if we cannot find the strength to break higher here. But again, given what the pre-market is showing us today, sure looks like we're going to try and make a move higher here out of the open. We'll see how that goes. All right, let's take a look at some insights from analysts and then roll through some of the news here for today. Analysts at Charles Schwab Center of Financial Research highlighted that some investors appear to have a, quote, casino mentality, end quote. No word. I know that we have several folks in our chat that always say, open the casino. It's time to open the casino. So it looks like that casino mentality is floating around out there when it comes to trading. But they also state that the market appears to be overbought in the near term. Quote, this could set things up for a possible pullback in the next week or two as the Magnificent Seven firms report earnings, especially if those earnings don't live up to lofty expectations, or if the war worsens, end quote. Goes on to say there's still a high level of uncertainty in the stock market at all-time highs, and it's basically putting a near zero probability of a prolonged war and or closure of the strait, end quote. That came from Nathan Peterson, Director of Derivatives Research and Strategy at the FCFR. So again, all of this is going to come down to the length of the conflict, and it seems like what's at the crux of that conflict is going to be the strait. Nothing really has changed. We're just playing with the market, the hand the market gives us, and right now it looks like it doesn't care about that all that much. All right, let's take a look at some of the earnings from yesterday. Yesterday was actually a big day in the earnings reports, and we're going to have a lot of those stocks moving here today. As I go through this, if you have any trade ideas, or thoughts about potential either exits from the current position or even a new position based on all of this, please share it with the group here. I am going to try and group some of these together so I can move through them a little bit faster here. We're going to start with Tesla. TSLA, Tesla stock saw a slight increase of 0.28%, closing at 387.51. Stock had reached an intraday high of 393.01 and a low of 385.30 over the past year. Tesla stock has ranged between 244 and 500. Tesla reported first quarter revenue of $22.71 billion, which is rising 16% year over year, but missed estimates of $22.39, while the adjusted EPS of 41 cents beat the expectations of 37 cents. Company also reported 408,386 deliveries and 358,023 production units for the quarter. The Elon Musk-led company highlighted growth in AI and autonomous initiatives, with full self-driving subscriptions reaching 1.28 million. That's up 51% year over year. And robotaxi usage nearly doubling sequentially, while it expects production of Cybercab and Semi to begin this year and plans large-scale Optimus robot manufacturing. That's going to be one of the big drivers for Tesla. We'll see if that ends up materializing here. ServiceNow is going to be the next one that reported earnings. That got smacked. ServiceNow's stock was up 2.93% and closed at $103 with an intraday high of $104 and a low of $101. The 52-week range is 81 to 211. In the after hours, stock fell 12%. That's because ServiceNow reported first quarter revenue of $3.11 billion and adjusted EPS of 97 cents. Both slightly beating estimates, with revenue rising 22% year over year and remaining performance obligations reaching $27.7 billion or plus 25%. The company also highlighted strong AI-driven growth with high-value Now Assist customers increasing 130%. However, and as we've seen before, the company guided for second quarter subscription revenue of $3.81 to $3.82 billion and flagged geopolitical delays impacting deal timing, and that caused shares to fall after hours. They are continuing to fall here in the pre-market. Let's see where we're at here. It actually looks like it's kind of settled and found some support right around 87.5. So that would be one of the levels that we should be able to trade now off of here today. The next stock on our list here is going to be QuantumScape, and the ticker here is QS. QuantumScape surged 4.73% and closed at 731. Stock hit an intraday high of 733 while putting a low of 707 in. And the 52-week range on this bad boy is huge, $3.75 to 1907. Shares spiked 19% in after-hours trading. That's because QuantumScape reported first quarter loss of 16 cents per share, which was narrower than the 18-cent loss that was expected. Adjusted EBITDA loss of $63.2 million was in line with forecasts, and the company reiterated full-year EBITDA loss guidance of $250 to $275 million and CapEx of $40 to $60 million. Customer billings totaled 11 million, and the company said it completed a technology evaluation with an additional top 10 global automaker alongside the existing partner Volkswagen. So it looks like they reaffirmed their guidance, and it looks like they've got another big deal coming down the pipe here. QuantumScape responding positively to that. Let's check how that is holding up here. Hey, QuantumScape, another leg higher here in the pre-market high of 947. That stock up over 2 points now after closing at 731 yesterday. So pretty good performance there. Ticker QS. Next is going to be IBM. And IBM, Big Blue, fell 1.49%, closed at 251. Did have an intraday high of 257 and a low of 247. The 52-week range on this stock is 220 to 320 or 325 or thereabouts. Stock fell another 7% in extended trading. And IBM reported first quarter revenue of $15.92 billion with an EPS of $1.91, both beating estimates, with revenue rising 9% year over year, driven by growth in software, which was plus 11%, growth in consulting, which was plus 4%, and growth in infrastructure, which was plus 15%. The company projected more than 5% constant currency growth for 2026 and about $1 billion in additional cash flow, while margins improved with gross profit at 57.7% and pre-tax margin at 13.4%. Intel stock decreased by 1.49%. Oh, excuse me. That's Intel for the next one. I apologize. Let me go to IBM here because remember, and actually, let me go back to the chart here on IBM just very briefly. This is one of the things that I'm watching for on IBM. We have a long-term view on this stock that makes a very, very repeatable pattern. So if I throw this on a monthly chart and I zoom out, you can see IBM has really sharp moves up that last for years in some cases, and that is followed by kind of a slow regression back to the mean. Well, this is where we sit now, right? We just had a very, very steep move up. Now it looks like earnings are starting to change that around. We had a pretty steep drop, but I'm wondering now if over the next several years, the price ends up following this downward trend line. So a lot to think about here with IBM. I know it's down 7.5% here today after being down 1.5% yesterday. I do expect this to bounce in the near term, but honestly, I think the bounce height or the degree of that bounce is fairly limited. We'll see if this pattern holds up here. All right, let's talk a little bit about Intel next. That's going to be INTC. Intel stock decreased by 1.5%, closing at $65. Stock reached an intraday high of 68.77 and then a low of 65. The 52-week range is impressive on Intel. It's 18.97 to 70.32. Just a massive 52-week range there. We're near the higher end of it, of course. In after-hours trading, the stock rose 3.4% and was right around 67.32. Intel is expected to report first quarter revenue of $12.37 billion on Thursday after the market closes here today. That's down from $12.67 billion a year earlier and a loss of 4 cents per share versus earnings of 13 cents per share last year as analysts look for signs of margin improvement driven by AI-related demand. Ahead of the report, analysts turned more constructive on the outlook, citing stronger pricing power and potential growth in the data center segment, along with new product launches and AI-focused partnerships. So again, we'll see if Intel can get rolling here, if it can end up beating these earnings. I think this is the biggest one after hours here today. I know we did have American Express earlier today. We'll see how Intel does a little bit later. All right, I did want to dive in a little bit more into Tesla's earnings. I know that this is really the big one here. It was a revenue miss, an EPS beat. The full self-driving did hit a record, and the semi and the cybercab timelines are softened. I know we've talked about that quite a bit here. Tesla reported first quarter revenue of $22.71 billion. That was up 16% year over year. The revenue, however, missed a street consensus estimate of $22.39 billion, according to data from Benzinga Pro. Automotive revenue of $16.23 billion was up 16% year over year in that quarter. Tesla's adjusted earnings per share of 41 cents beat a street consensus estimate of 37 cents per share, so that's good. The company highlighted its progress made in infrastructure and AI, along with progress updates on FSD and robotaxis. Robotaxi paid miles nearly doubled quarter over quarter in the first year. That's good. Quote, once in production, we expect that Cybercab will begin to replace the existing Model Y fleet and will be the largest volume vehicle in the fleet over time. End quote. That came from Tesla, the company. The company also highlighted robotaxis rolling out in additional cities in the recent week. Full self-driving subscriptions hit 1.28 million for the first quarter. That's up 51% year over year from 1.1 million in the fourth quarter. The company said it had met new subscriptions for full self-driving in that first quarter. Tesla ended the quarter with digital assets worth $786 million. Now, of course, that's made up predominantly of Bitcoin, ticker BTC. This marks a significantly lower figure than the $1.01 billion in the fourth quarter, with leading cryptocurrency trading lower in the first quarter. So it looks like it's just the move in Bitcoin affecting that value there. Previously reported first quarter production and deliveries were 358,023 units and 408,386 units, respectively. Tesla said it expects volume production of the Cybercab and Tesla Semi, quote, this year. This is a change in the wording from the previous quarter when both vehicles were listed to have production ramps in the first half of 2026. So it looks like it's being pushed out a little bit. The company said the first large-scale Optimus factory will begin in the second quarter with a line designated for 1 million robots a year. This is the Fremont factory line that replaced the production of the Model S and Model X. Tesla is also preparing its Gigafactory Texas for the second generation Optimus line, which will be able to produce 10 million robots annually in the long term. Quote, we are excited about Tesla's positioning in 2026, with tailwinds persisting for the auto business, our continued progress on full self-driving 4, the ramp of robotaxi, the progress on Optimus ahead of mass production, and the growth of our energy production capacity, end quote. So Tesla, I know they're kind of extending some of those timelines. I'll be honest, the market is fairly used to Tesla extending timelines and kicking some of this down the road a little bit. But it does actually sound like they got a pretty good report there. And it sounds like if they're able to ramp this production, we should actually see some better dollar figures here for Tesla. And hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, there was just a couple of things on IBM. I know I kind of covered this a little bit already, but I did want to dive into some of the highlights from the first quarter here. So I'll do this here real quickly. IBM reported quarterly earnings of 191 per share. That beat the consensus of 181 by 5.52%, according to Benzinga Pro. Quarterly revenue of 15.92 billion beat the consensus of 15.62 billion and was up from 14.54 billion in the previous quarter. So here are your highlights. So it had revenue of 15.9 billion. That was up 9% and up 6% at constant currency. Software revenue was up 11%, up 8% at constant currency. Consulting revenue up 4% or 1% at constant currency. And infrastructure revenue up 15%, which was up 12% at constant currency. Now, as far as the profit goes, the gross profit margin for non-GAAP was 57.7%. That's 110 basis points higher. Pre-tax income margin, or non-GAAP, was 13.4%. That was up 140 basis points. And the outlook here is that IBM expects more than 5% constant currency growth and an increase of approximately $1 billion in year-over-year cash flow in 2026. So again, it's all right here. The market doesn't like it, but we've got this bigger pattern here on IBM. Maybe IBM's just kind of moved too far, too fast at this point. All right. There was a deal yesterday. We talked about it briefly, but it's on one of our big winners here. And I know that there's been a number of you that were buying this sub 100. This is, of course, on Marvell here. Marvell has been a huge mover for us recently. It's been a huge winner for a big part of our group. Oh, my gosh, I've got to be able to type today. Come on. It's been a huge winner for our group here today. It's sitting right at $158. But we did have a deal yesterday, and I just wanted to talk about this a little bit since we didn't cover it in depth yesterday, since it broke during the show. Marvell, ticker MRVL, is expanding its AI and data center strategy through acquisitions, partnerships, and strong analyst-backed growth tied to rising cloud demand, of course. The fabless chip designer announced on Wednesday that it had acquired Polariton Technologies to improve how data moves across large computing systems, adding technology that enhances speed and efficiency. Polariton Technologies is a Swiss-based leader in high-performance plasmonic enhanced photonic integrated circuits, or PICs for short, I think we'll call it that, and electro-optic modulators. The company did not disclose the financial terms of the deal, and I think this is why we kind of saw a muted reaction yesterday. Sandeep Bharathi, president of Marvell's data center group, said the acquisition supports ongoing investments in advanced technologies as demand from AI and cloud workloads grow. No surprise there. Marvell held $2.64 billion in cash and cash equivalents as of January 31st, 2026. The new technology allows faster data transfer while using less power and space, addressing the current growing needs of AI-driven workloads. Marvell plans to combine this capability with its existing solutions to build more integrated and scalable systems. The deal also brings specialized engineering talent, strengthening Marvell's expertise as it targets the next phase of data center upgrades. Marvell is also working with Alphabet, ticker GOOG and GOOGL, or Google, to develop AI chips that improve data flow and efficiency, positioning itself as a key partner in expanding Google's AI infrastructure and reducing reliance on NVIDIA. Interesting, ticker NVDA. RBC Capital raised its price forecast on Marvell to 170 and maintained an outperform rating, citing strong demand from cloud customers like Amazon Web Services. The firm estimates about $1.6 billion in custom chip revenue from Amazon Web Services this year and expects continued growth, while noting that limited advanced manufacturing capacity could cap near-term upside. So Marvell, again, Lion, I see Lion here saying, let's go. Yeah, I bet. Lion, you were a big buyer of Marvell under 100, saying that this was going to be a good trade over the long term. And so far, it appears that you're right. This story here, or this acquisition here, absolutely bodes well for your trading plan. Looking at the technical analysis here, it's sitting at the top end of its 52-week range. Just going through some of these stats here. Stock's trading 31.9% above its 20-day simple moving average. That's been one of our big trend indicators. 72.8% above its 100-day. Shows that it's got some pretty powerful short-term momentum to the upside. Now, its RSI, which is, in fact, a momentum gauge, 87.65. So definitely high momentum. Could make the case maybe that it's overbought since it's in deep overbought territory. But as the story outlines here, it's almost like a crowded momentum trade, and there might be some more to go here on Marvell. Looking at the resistance here, 158.5. That's basically right where we're at now. We're at 157.75 here in the pre-market. So we're basically right under that, but it sure looks like, that 158.5 is providing some resistance here in the pre-market today. We do have some key support at about 125. I know that's a ways away. I don't think we'll get to that here today. It does have ETF exposure, and let's see, I don't have any analyst recommendations here in the article, but I know that they have some pretty high price targets on this. Lion says, anyone who makes money on Marvell needs to send me my commission. LOL. It's not our show and group doesn't work on commissions, Lion, but I will say, all jokes aside, that was an excellent call, and you had very, very high conviction on that, and it ended up working out perfectly. I think there's still more to go, frankly, on all of that. All right. Next one here. I know SpaceX, this is still going to, I know we're, a couple of months away, but this is going to be one of the biggest financial stories of the year. Sans any black swan event that we can't predict. This is definitely going to be one of the biggest events of the year here. And we're going to continue to see stories about this. I'm going to stay on top of all of it. I know a huge part of our group wants to actually trade this when it's available. And by the way, any of you that are trying to get SpaceX shares on the IPO, definitely let me know about that. I want to hear about that. I want to know who ends up getting these and if you ended up getting a lot. But that's down the road here. Commercial spaceflight giant SpaceX has warned investors it could face supply chain risks as it moves to scale up its in-house AI compute efforts. Not even public yet. Now we've got supply chain risks. According to an S1 filing accessed by Reuters on Wednesday, SpaceX had listed its in-house chip manufacturing as one of its, quote, substantial capital expenditures, end quote. SpaceX also outlined that it did not have long-term contracts in place with suppliers and that it will continue to source a significant portion of its compute from third-party suppliers. So some of those third-party suppliers and hyperscalers, yeah, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be in demand. Quote, there can be no assurance that we will be able to achieve our objectives with respect to Terafab within the expected timeframes or at all, end quote. That was from SpaceX. It did not mention a specific figure when it comes to the CapEx outlined in the filings with the SEC, according to the report. So we'll see. SpaceX also reportedly cautioned investors looking to participate in the upcoming IPO that the company's orbital data center goals, as well as plans to colonize Mars, rely on unproven technology that carry risks. Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. I think that's one of the whole reasons why people are going after it. It also cautioned that the goals may not be commercially viable. SpaceX, in the meantime, eyeing a $1.75 trillion valuation for its IPO. So I guess maybe we should just stop there. Producer, I know that you had some ideas for polls here today, but maybe we should think about a orbital data center poll. Is this commercially viable? Do they get it done at all? Do they get it done within a timeline, maybe shortly after a timeline? I'd be curious to know what you all think about that. As far as these orbital data centers, I think there's going to be a lot in there. I'm just curious to see what the group thinks about that. The news comes as Elon Musk shared that Tesla and SpaceX would use Intel's next generation 14A manufacturing process for chips at Terafab. The EV giant also announced it was raising its 2026 capital spending plan to more than $25 billion from the $20 billion last quarter. Tesla, on the other hand, also reported its first quarter 2026 earnings on Wednesday, where Musk confirmed that Tesla vehicles equipped with Hardware 3 or HW3 chips would not be able to achieve unsupervised full self-driving. Tesla also acquired a $2 billion equity stake in SpaceX. So, okay, we'll see how it shakes out there for Tesla. Let's see, what do we have here? And don't worry, folks. Don't worry. We will absolutely be taking a look at car. I know that one is on everyone's radar here. We'll 100%. I actually should have plenty of time to take a look at car before we even start the pre-market pulse segment here. So no worries. We're definitely, and congrats, by the way, to anyone that was trading that. I'm curious to know how it goes with some of those option IVs that were totally ramped. I'm curious to see what kind of profit you're staring at here today. We'll get to that here in just a sec. I promise. Next story here. This one I thought was a tad interesting. Microsoft, reportedly eyed Cursor, but that was before SpaceX swooped in and bought it. Now, what does that mean? I'd like to hear from the group on that one. And also, as the producer's reminding you, please hit the like. It's a free way to support us. Helps us improve the stream on a daily basis here. Microsoft had been reportedly eyeing AI coding startup Cursor before SpaceX made headlines with its $60 billion acquisition option of the company. Satya Nadella-led company's interest in Cursor was part of its strategy to expand its artificial intelligence tools in the rapidly growing AI market. However, the tech giant ultimately chose not to move forward with a bid, and that was reported by CNBC on Wednesday. Also, and this is par for the course, frankly, Microsoft and Cursor did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comments. As I always do, if we get more on this, I will continue to update this or update you on this. However, this revelation comes at a time when Microsoft is gaining steady momentum with GitHub's Copilot. However, AI coding is currently led by Cursor, Anthropic, and OpenAI, with Microsoft mainly acting as an advisor and cloud provider via Azure. In the second quarter earnings call, Satya Nadella told analysts that GitHub Copilot reached 4.7 million paid users, which was up 75% year over year. Cursor, on the other hand, is part of a new wave of startups that's gaining traction by using AI to automate coding tasks. SpaceX has now secured an option to either acquire Cursor for $60 billion later this year or enter a $10 billion partnership. Microsoft's AI offering, Copilot, meanwhile, has been facing investor frustration due to its limited traction despite its leadership in SaaS through 365 Commercial Cloud. Earlier this month, Nadella had initiated a Copilot Code Red, end quote, effort to improve the performance and user experience. And by the way, my call to action is still out there. For any of you folks that have 9-to-5 jobs or really any other job in which they want you to use Copilot or you have the option of using Copilot, or if you're forced to use Copilot, I definitely want to know about your experiences with that. I suspect that if Copilot really gains traction one way or another, you're going to see that reflected very, very quickly in Microsoft's stock price. That's just kind of like my gut feeling, so I definitely want to get more information from the group here. Copilot has also been lagging behind its competitors, and this is why I want to know from you folks, with only 6 million daily active users in March compared to Claude's 9 million and ChatGPT's staggering 440 million. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about here, it's amazing. I feel like we talk about Claude every single day. We actually open the show here with Acorn saying that Claude is superior for stock trading. It's I guess part of me is kind of confused. It really looks like ChatGPT's 440 million users, like they had the first mover advantage, and they're still kind of working with that advantage. Whenever I talk to somebody about AI advancements or what new and cool stuff they do with AI, they almost always mention Claude and almost never mention ChatGPT, just as an anecdotal aside there. Okay. One more story here, and then we'll break into some of the charts and what you folks want. What are we, 20 ahead of the hour? We're doing good here. This one's going to be on XPeng, and this is a Tesla rival. I know several of you folks actually trade XPeng pretty regularly, so let me know what you think about all of this. XPeng, which is ticker XPEV, is targeting volume production of its flying cars next year. as well as scaling its humanoid robot efforts. Okay, so we have basically a Tesla and Joby cross here, it sounds like. Flying cars and robots. This is the future, folks. In a statement to Reuters on Thursday, XPeng President Brian Gu shared that the company is targeting fourth quarter 2026 production timeline for its humanoid robot. XPeng said that it has received more than 7,000 orders for its flying cars, all of which were from China. Who wants to see flying cars in China, by the way? Who wants to see flying cars in China? I know I do. The company is also working to secure approval from China's aviation regulator. They probably just need to pay a certain amount. XPeng, which will also produce thousands of robo-taxis in the next year and a half, while also saying that the company's humanoid robot business will exceed its automotive business in the next 2 decades. That's a much longer time frame than what Elon Musk is saying. XPeng will use its robots as receptionists or as sales technicians initially. Let me just ask you a real quick hypothetical question here. How many of you folks, A, want to buy a new vehicle from a robot? And then I guess furthermore, how many of you would walk into a dealership, realize that what you need to do is consummate this transaction with a robot, and then immediately turn around and walk out? Because buying cars is one thing. Buying cars from robots, I'm just not too sure. XPeng's CEO He Xiaopeng has expressed bullish sentiments about the company's Vision Language Action, or VLA 2.0 autonomous driving system, inviting several international media and influencers, oh great, to test out the system's capabilities. The company had earlier set up a dedicated robotaxi unit within its ranks ahead of a commercial rollout on the service and targets, releasing 3 robotaxi models this year. Meanwhile, Tesla, ticker TSLA, CEO Elon Musk said during the company's first quarter 2026 earnings call that the automaker would showcase its Optimus V3 robot closer to its production timeline, stated to be around July or August this year. Quote, "We found our competitors literally do a frame-by-frame analysis and copy everything we're doing," end quote. So we might not get previews of the Optimus robot until later in the cycle because other companies are literally looking at the video and then copying it. Wild times. Musk also confirmed that the automaker's vehicles equipped with the Hardware 3 or HW3 chip would not be able to achieve unsupervised full self-driving, while also sharing that Tesla could set up potential mini factories to replace the hardware on HW3 equipped vehicles. Okay, so you're not going to be able to do that, but if we replace some hardware, maybe you will be able to do that. And maybe, just maybe, we'll come up with a system for that. We'll see how this one shakes out as well, what kind of demand there is for that. Tesla also rolled out its robotaxi service in Dallas and Houston, which was seen as a sign of progress for the automaker's self-driving vision by Morgan Stanley analyst Andrew Percoco. So we'll see. We'll see what we get here. We'll see if XPeng is actually a competitor to Tesla. And ultimately, we'll see what the world looks like when it's got robots walking around of different manufacturers all over the damn place. It's going to be new times. It's going to be strange times too. No question about all that. Okay. Let me go back to Pro here. Before we do, I want to catch up on some of the comments here. I know I just blew you guys away with a ton of news there. Sorry about that. But like I said, there was a lot going on and we had a ton of earnings reports and more to come starting today and then also next week. But we are going to go into street tweets here in a second. And actually, I saw that you guys were tweeting about the reclassification of weed. Did we get a headline on that? Let me actually check that real quick here. Let's just pull up any pot stock here. Okay, so CGC, this is the one that I hold, full disclosure. This is trading up here in the pre-market, about 150. Okay, giddy up. That's good. Let's see what we have here for news on that. So this is fresh as of this morning. Trump reclassifies state-licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug in a historic shift. That was from the AP News. So what else did you guys have here? Trump reclassifies state. Okay, so that was EKS. That was the news that you had posted in there. Okay, perfect. Cam said, Ryan, you got me using Claude. How's it going, Cam? Is it going well? Claude's been great for me. One of my favorites. Market Sniper says, I think police officers should have access to flying cars. That makes sense. I do, Ryan, but I want to enjoy my Mustang on the road. Oh, you have a Mustang. Nice. V8, I hope. Market Sniper, I'm pro robots everywhere. Okay. Should be another buck in Tilray as the Department of Justice reclassifies FDA approval for state license. Okay. So this is the headline that we got here. This is popping some of the cannabis stocks. It looks like CGC up 5% here. I'd be curious. Okay, here we go. So MSOS, which is the pure U.S. cannabis ETF, that's up 11.5% here. So it looks like some of these are going to perform better than others. MSOS looks like a pretty good trade. This is going to be a mover, folks, today, and all of the pot stocks that are associated with this likely to be in play. Empyrean, it's great to see you. MSOS pumped yesterday and is still going this morning. It looks like we're going to get a 6 test here today, to be quite honest with you. And then Joe here reminding us, this is a big win for Paulo. Paulo from Trading Made Simple gave us Marvell last October around 70. That's what I like to hear. That's absolutely what I like to hear. And I, like I said, Marvell's been a big winner. It's not just our group, but it is a lot of folks in our group here. Okay, let me catch up on the rest of these. People running these companies are just antisocial and anti-human. We do not need any of these things. I agree with you on the self-driving, just because I like it so much. The robots, not too sure. Not too sure. Richard Judge says everything green is going up. LOL. All right, folks, I do want to remind you here, we have another free webinar today. So after our show here at 11 a.m. Eastern time, we are going to be having another webinar here. The QR code is on the screen for you to sign up. Again, totally free. The new era of proprietary trading, how traders are building careers in multi-asset prop for stocks and futures. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Learn how modern prop firms are creating structured pathways for traders to trade professional capital across stocks and futures. We have a live webinar with Jim Simons, risk manager at Prop Shop Trader, today at 11 a.m. Eastern. The link is in the chat, or the QR code is on the screen here. So if you have ever had questions about prop trading, I know I've got a few on here over the years. If you have interest or questions about prop trading, definitely check out that free webinar. All right, let's go ahead and do street tweets. Then we can do ticker time until we do pre-market pulse. Fill out the rest of your morning here. All right, folks, I know nobody here is surprised, but the back and forth continues. Iran-U.S. talks in Pakistan may see breakthrough in preparations tonight or tomorrow. And that came not from Trump, but from an Iranian diplomatic source. So we'll see. I know there was back and forth here. It really seems like there's two heads of the dragon over there that we're dealing with, or that are making comments left and right. So we'll see which one we get here. But it appears that the talks in Pakistan might see a breakthrough in preparations. So let's all hope that that is the case. All right, let's get back to pro here. We can go ahead and start taking a look at some tickers. What are we at? We're 11 ahead of the hour here. Perfect. Let me actually just run through some more of these cannabis names real quick. I want to start with the daily chart. Actually, this is perfect. MSOS, we had a trend line here. This trend line originated a while ago. Let me actually refresh pro and see if I can get some of those historical candles to come back on here. We had a pretty long-term trend in MSOS. I know we've traded this a lot recently. It's actually made for some pretty good trades. Maybe I should have held this longer than I did. Nonetheless, we're trading up here today. Okay, I can't get the historical candles on there. Not sure why. Anyway, trading up here today, I definitely think that we probably try this target. I got that at 670. To me, this represents an upside level here today for MSOS. We've seen this pop before. It's already up 10.5%. Another $1.20 would be quite a bit more. So this already, as mentioned earlier here in the chat, this pumped about 20% yesterday, 19.39% yesterday. So MSOS, that's going to be a big one. We talked a little bit about CGC. This is the one that I hold. I was a slight bag holder in this one over the last several months. No more after the move here. I do think 150 is going to be a key area to see if this breaks out from that area. Tilray, this is not one I'm interested in, but I know that a lot of folks end up trading this one. 888. This too looks like a possible breakout here, up 13%. Possible move through $9 here on Tilray. And then what were some of the other ones that you guys really like? ACAN, I think this one moved pretty crazy yesterday. Yeah, indeed. This is up another 32% here today. Let me actually see what's going on here with this. Cannabis cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution company. Company has 3 reportable segments, the ones I just listed. A majority of its revenue comes from the distribution segment, which relates to the distribution of medical cannabis products, including cannabis oil and cannabis flower for medical use in the United Kingdom. Interesting. So this one's super, super low float, less than 1 million shares, 534,000 shares in the float. Not surprised. We saw this move over 200% yesterday. It's moving another 32% here today. If you're looking for the big mover in this segment, probably going to be ACAN. But all right. Oh, those cannabis names are moving. What else did you folks want to take a look at? Kathy, taking a look at AUUD. Let's do that here real quick. Audia, this is oh my God, this I didn't even realize, Kathy, I didn't realize this was up so much, up nearly 100%. Audia's LT350 secures its 14th patent, expanding AI infrastructure portfolio to 16 issued and patent pending patents for parking lot deployments. I would actually want to go through. All right, people. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. This I probably want to go through this PR a little bit more. Kathy, let me know if there's any other insights that you have from this. But this is a monster move here in AUUD. And you know what? Did we have a recent split? I think that was. Let's see if we had a recent split here. Yep, I thought so. April 1st, we did what an April Fool's joke that was. April 1st, we did a 1 for 7.7 reverse split on this. That's why the short interest looks like that. So prior to that, it was relatively tame, about 10%, maybe 8 to 10% of the float shorted. Now this thing has a float of 500,000, so it's going to move like crazy. This should be in play here today on the back of that. Absolutely. This should definitely be in play. Good stuff, Kath. Let me know if you already had this or not. Pot G stands for African cooking pot. It has nothing to do with drugs. Rolling on the floor, laughing emoji. I'll be honest, up until then, I did think that it had something to do with cannabis, but there we go. Bob, we got those reverse splits there. Would you take a look at APLD? Sure, we can do that. APLD, Applied Digital. This is up 7.62%. Looks like we've got some fresh news here. Applied Digital signs a $7.5 billion lease agreement with a new U.S. hyperscaler at its Delta Forge 1 AI factory. Okay. Total $7.5 billion total contract value over the estimated 15-year lease, 300 megawatts of power. Did they mention who this was? No, I don't think so. No. I don't see it here. Maybe they do mention it, but I don't see it here. This too should be a pretty good, this should cause APLD to move pretty nicely here. Here's what the 15-minute chart looks like. Sure looks like we're going to try and trade above this $40 level. Here's the one thing I would watch. Okay, here's the one thing I would watch. Are we actually going to form the right shoulder here? Because you could make the argument that here's our left shoulder, here's our head, and our possible right shoulder would be forming right here. So if this thing trades up to 40, which the chart is basically saying it should be able to do, it's carved out that range here recently. If it trades up to 40 and it can't get through that, I think you might be looking at a potential head and shoulders here on AUUD. Kathy, you're scaling out of this. You're just going to leave a few hundred share, or you just have a few hundred shares left. Okay, so I think you did really well with that. Obviously, this thing was a pretty awesome bounce off the 200-day. Your price was at 672. Oh, this is a different stock. That's AUUD. My fault, Kath. My fault. Big Grip says, how do I get access to your afternoon show? I want to have more information when it comes to swing trades. It's a good question. The afternoon show that Big Grip is asking about is called the Happy Hour. Yes, some folks do show up with adult beverages to the Happy Hour, but you certainly don't have to. We do more kind of discussion about what people think on that show than news and maybe kind of, PRs about some of these movers. Big Grip, it is definitely a show designed to have people kind of discuss swing trade ideas or investment ideas or what the broader market is doing. The way that you get access to that is you become an active subscriber of Benzinga Pro, which is the news platform and scanner utility that we share here on a daily basis. The Happy Hour is only for Benzinga Pro subscribers. But good question. Good question nonetheless. Okay, what are we? 4 minutes ahead of the hour here. Still waiting on 13. Let's see, what else? Did you guys suggest anything else? Marionette, you had suggested Netflix, another very popular one. Let's take a look at Netflix here. How about this? So we're just talking about a potential head and shoulders formation on that last stock there, APLD. Look what's happening here on Netflix. It sure looks like we traded up to form that right shoulder. Oh, Aklo, thank you. No, I did want to get to that. You're absolutely right about that. As far as Netflix goes, look at this, folks. Sure looks like we're forming the right shoulder. We were actually rejected by the 200-day. That 200-day is going to continue to come down. Netflix has traded down here. We've talked a lot about Netflix having a content problem. We actually covered how some of Netflix's I want to say their main subscriber base, their main supporters, their longtime loyal subscribers now starting questioning the service based not only on the content, but also on the price. I don't know. I think Netflix has some problems ahead of it. Now, is Netflix going to zero? No. Is everyone going to cancel their Netflix subscription and it's going to go the way of Blockbuster? No, of course not. But as far as the stock trade goes here, we have a pretty compelling case that the next move or the next notable move here is down. And we have a chart formation. We have a macro setup. We have earnings out of the way. We have a lot of stuff to support a potential move down here in Netflix. We've covered it at great length. Now, just kind of looking at the chart, it sure looks like we're filling out this head and shoulders formation. I would watch this. To me, the 200-day moving average becomes extremely important here. That is clearly depressing the price right now. It also happens to be right near where that right shoulder is forming. So if we can't get above that, move above that, really kind of invalidate this pattern, I think you might see Netflix come in lower. And I'll be honest, I am going to encourage 13 to take the biggest victory lap he's ever taken, because Netflix has been an absolute monster. And in the face of everyone being a Netflix bull or everyone really liking the product, 13 took an objective look at that and said, you know what? I think there's a problem here. And if this ends up playing out, that's going to end up being one of the greatest calls that we've had here on the show, without a doubt. It's easy to call some of these movers based on technical stuff. It is, in my opinion, much more difficult to call the reversal of a company that's just been an absolute monster with the degree of accuracy that has happened there. So we'll see what happens here on Netflix. Okay, 1 minute ahead of the hour. It looks like 13 joined us a little bit early. So before we take a look at Oklo and Carr, let's bring 13 on, start pre-market pulse, and see if we can get you some more opinions to prepare you for the market session ahead. Let's do that right now. 13, good morning. How you doing? I actually did not see exactly when you joined there, so I'm not sure if you heard the shout out there on Netflix, but still have the chart up. I guess I would just start off with your opinion here.
Oh, I appreciate the shout out. I don't disagree. I like the way this is forming here, but I'm gonna have to push back. I think the best, my favorite one anyway, was Activision Blizzard. That one I called on for the breakdown
and then down. Yeah.
Oh man, that was we can talk about that another time. But for now, Netflix, what you said, I still believe. To me, it seems like they've got a very big content problem. The subscribers are not happy with these price raises in the face of no new content or lack of content. People aren't really looking to have multiple subscription platforms to watch their sports or whatever it is they want to watch. So I think people are starting to get tired of all these different streaming platforms, and they just would like to see some one place where they can go for all their shows. But anyway, that's we have a whole lot more downside to go if we're going to see this head and shoulders resolve. So it's going to take some time. We'll have to be patient if we're going to get this moved down, and we could see some bounces up along the way because this thing can get oversold pretty quick, as it was back in February.
Okay. All right. Two other stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. These are bigger stocks, 13. Then we can maybe go through some of those movers. Let's start with CAR. This is obviously the huge one. You know what? I'm just going to start off with taking an L here because, oops. And what I mean by that is one of the things, we talked about this. Big time shout out to Lion, who really had the stones to go short here. I brought on David Prince, who initially was looking for a short here and said, you know what, I may just kind of hold off on that because it's a little bit too crazy. One of the things that I had said is that one of the things you can watch for is declining volume, and that might tell you where there's a short setup. Well, is not what we got. In fact, we got one of the most bearish engulfing candles I think I've ever seen. This totally engulfs the last 3 days of madness. And if you take a look at the volume, it did not come in at all. In fact, it has remained elevated. It has continued to expand. So that type of metric to watch for a potential short here did not work. Now, CAR gapped up yesterday, traded down. We had this is what it looks like intraday. Just an absolute monster reversal. Here's what we had in the morning yesterday. Traded up out of the gate, up to 850. By the time this thing closed, this thing was almost cut in half. $460 is what I have here. It's probably closer to $450. Just an absolute monster move down. It actually looks like it's going to go down again here today. But here's the one thing. In 13, we talked about this yesterday. I would be entirely unsurprised if on its way back down to $150 or sub 200 or whatever, that this thing has another bounce. And let me show you why I think that. If I back out here and we go back to the last time that this thing short squeezed, albeit it did it in 1 day, we had the big 1 day move higher, then we had the retracement. But this is what we had. This thing sold off to about 248 and then bounced almost 30%, depending on how you draw your lines. I did it a little bit janky here. We did this yesterday together in happy hour. This thing bounced 30% after the impulse moved down before resuming its rollover. So I say all that to say that, hey, if you're shorting CAR right now, if you're up on your short right now, good. Maybe consider scaling in that or trading around whatever your core position is. But don't be terribly shocked if CAR bounces at some point. Maybe it doesn't bounce right from here. CAR down 9% in the pre-market. Maybe it trades down a little bit more and then bounces. Just don't get caught off guard by this. And if you miss the first short and you still think this is going to go lower, I think that it's a better idea, instead of chasing the short to the downside, wait for it to bounce and then enter your short, as opposed to just, again, kind of chasing this move. 13, what do you think here on CAR?
Yeah, I think, and if you send anything down a staircase, it's going to bounce. So I think that we're probably going to get what you just said with Ava's budget as well. We're going to see some kind of a bounce here. Really don't know what kind of ferocity we're going to see to back the upside on that bounce, but it's not going to go back up over 800. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. So let's see what we get here. I think that, we could see maybe the move down to maybe the 20-day SMA before we get that bounce, and try to trade back up, to 2 or above yesterday's close. But I don't really want to make any predictions or forecasts about what's going to happen with this. We could still continue down and just continue giving all this back. So you guys that trade options, you do your thing. I'm just going to sit here and watch the show.
There you go. You're going to watch the car crash, as they say. Watch the car crash. I like it. Okay. Good stuff there on Car Line here saying car has support at 205 and major support around 150. I would agree with your spots. I just think that trading action here, I think that this can probably bounce before it reaches one of those support levels. We'll see how that ends up shaking out. Okay, the other big stock that you folks wanted to take a look at was going to be Oklo, and it makes sense. Oklo up another 9.5% here, trading above $79. We're within a stone's throw of the 200-day on a potential recapture. Remember, one of the things that I had said here on Oklo recently, just kind of looking at this, we had this trend line. I don't know why the drawings are disappeared, but we had this trend line and we had this kind of support trend line and we had this falling wedge that we broke out of. Then we back tested it. This was one of the better formations here. We traded out of the wedge. We back tested the wedge and the 50. Now it looks like we're pushing higher. Sure seems to me like 85.42 is the next stop here. Oklo shares are trading higher after the company announced an agreement with NVIDIA and Los Alamos National Laboratory to advance critical nuclear infrastructure, AI-enabled research, and nuclear fuel research and development at Los Alamos. Word is they're calling it the Brooklyn Project instead of the Manhattan Project. I'm just kidding. But Oklo here breaking out and trying to move higher. I think that at least for right now, your near-term bottom here is in. I certainly think that the next move is going to be higher here on Oklo. I would not be surprised if we test this 200-day. I'd be curious to see how it responds at the 200-day. 13, what do you think here, OKLO?
We are getting into oversold territory here with this. So if we do go to the 200, which I think is entirely possible, that's probably going to be where we start to see this cool off a bit. It's probably going to take us a bit further up into the 70s RSI. This isn't the highest it's ever been. It's certainly been over 80 RSI multiple times, so it could still climb higher. But I do think that we're going to see some resistance coming to play around that 200-day SMA. And if not there, then the next level that I'd be watching for would be $100. I think that psych level is going to also come into play as resistance.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. A couple of things here. Glenn, Oklo, the inside top cloud and 200 SMA are together there at just about $86. He's got that value at $85.95. Brian, I would agree with this sentiment here. If Jensen sees value in them for the future, then I'm on board. Hard to go against Jensen. It seems like everything he touches turns to gold there. 100 Oklo as the first resistance, Ryan. I still see resistance at that 200-day at 85 there, but I agree with your 100 sentiment there.
I agree with the partnership with NVIDIA or the agreement is great and everything, but until this company starts pulling in some revenue, it's not as
You're still
attractive.
trading the story. You're still trading the story.
Right. I mean, they're not supposed to have revenue until I think sometime in the 2030s. I forget exactly when this company is supposed to have revenue come online with their nuclear power generation. But my understanding is a lot of these companies are still years away. So you are trading the story.
Okay. Zippity Duda says, I've never used Claude or ChatGPT. Copilot is free. That's an interesting take. I will say that there are free versions of both ChatGPT and Claude, which do a good job. But interesting nonetheless. One more thing here real quick. We did have a poll earlier regarding Tesla. Tesla is aggressively ramping CapEx. How do you view this? 52% of you. I don't think we rarely have over 50% of the group agreeing with one another. 52% of you said it's necessary for future growth. 18% of you said it's too aggressive and over-levered. 15% of you said they're targeting an $8.5 trillion market cap, and 15% of you said diminishing returns are expected.
Oh, and then Lion was saying it's coming in 2027. I just was looking at so it looks like they're supposed to start to have some revenue from their isotope business this year, but their revenue from other operations, what I see here is late 2027, early 2028. Still a ways away, but it's not for me right now. I think maybe it's a good time to get it right now and just hold on to it. But I'm not ready to jump into this quite yet.
Okay, all right. 13. Did you have any movers that you covered here today? Should we cover that list?
I did.
Okay, let's move over to it. We'll start with AUUD. I'm assuming this is at the top of your list here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. I actually already took a look at this very, very briefly, but just as a recap here, Audia's LT350 secures its 14th patent, expanding AI infrastructure portfolio to 16 issued and pending patents for parking lot deployments.
That's a lot of peas.
What's that?
That's a lot of peas.
That is a lot of peas. I was able. I'm glad I have a pop filter here. Otherwise, you guys' ears would be getting killed. It does have some significant short interest, but that 38% read is due to the recent split that it did, the 1-for-7.7 split. The float is at 500,000 shares, according to Benzinga Pro here. So this is definitely low float, and it is traded an absolute ton here today. So we should expect this to move around. But 13, what say you on this?
Yeah, so this one with 500,000 shares, very easy to push around here off that patent news. Company has about 1 to 2 quarters of cash, no debt. I mean, it has just got no debt, but they could still raise soon because they do have very little cash. So I don't think that I didn't see if they had revenue. I don't think they did, or if they did, they had very little. Yeah, no revenue. So. Not making money yet, so they're going to need to raise capital. I think there could be a share dilution soon. They did file a prospectus, I believe, for more shares. A initial offering of formats on April 7th. There it is. So there could be some some share dilution coming with this, as they're going to need the money. And then you pointed out that short interest, which I think is just a result from the 1 to 7.7 reverse split. As far as the chart goes, it looks like we have a trend line that we can draw here. We are trading beneath the VWAP, looking for this support at the 650 area. It was getting support down to this area earlier this morning. Once we moved past this as resistance, it's now support. So we want to see this 650 area hold up as support, because if we lose it, if we're going to come down to that 65 EMA down near 6. That's going to be our next area of support, and beneath that is going to be the 200 EMA down near 5. Now, if we manage to get support here from the 650 area, we're going to want to see that VWAP get taken out again, and subsequently the trend line. You are muted, Ryan.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't want to speak over you, and then I forgot to unmute. So appreciate that. Anyway, really good breakdown there on AUUD. We'll see where it ends up going. I got that trend line drawn here off this pre-market activity. Okay, next here. This is probably not on your list because it looks like it's breaking right now. But let's just take a quick look at this. This is ticker CPIX, Cumberland Pharma. Stock is up nearly 80%. It's coming off the impulse move here. Here's the 9 o'clock PR that we got. Cumberland Pharmaceuticals announces a strategic transition to integrate commercial business with Apotex. It's basically, so Cumberland Pharmaceuticals announces that Apotex will acquire the company's line of branded pharmaceuticals for $100 million.
That's more than their market cap.
That's more than their market cap. That's what's driving this here. Their market cap, by the way, 45 million. It's exactly what I was going to check. This looks like a big, big sale here for CPIX. I am going to run that PR through AI here in a little bit. Not a whole lot of short interest in this, only 1.26%. I don't think there's any squeeze potential here. Float 8.7 million, and the stock trading 10x what it normally does prior to the open here. 13, I know that we just started talking about this, so you might not have a whole lot, but is there anything here that you're thinking on CPIX? Actually, it looks like we're breaking out of a formation here. Looks like maybe next spot higher here about 630-ish.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the math, you'll probably be able to figure out where this could go. But this doesn't sound like this is a complete takeover. It's just part of a segment of a company.
Yeah.
That's my understanding from the way this reads, right?
Yeah.
The company's line of branded pharmaceuticals, not the whole company itself, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's why we're not seeing this go up to a certain price and just hang out there. So I don't, let me look at the chart here. Maybe I can get an idea of where this goes with that. So we are breaking out of a massive downtrend. It was going back to March of last year. Looks like we could see some resistance at 6. And I would also say maybe 630. Those are the next two upside areas I see for resistance. Is that if you look at a chart, like a daily chart for CPIX, that's what I'm seeing here. Now we could open and leak down to some of these former support areas. Now that we've moved past it, $5 and the trend line that I just drew. because this really extends the RSI up beyond 80. So there could be some profit taking or selling out of the gate here with this one, but those would be the resistance and support levels that I'd be watching for. I don't know a whole lot else about this company. We could take a quick look at the financials.
Wiss is saying they don't have the cash yet going down. So you're saying Apotex doesn't have the cash yet, Wiss?
Okay. Okay, so going down. Okay, well, I mean, that makes sense to me. But yeah, this move here, I think we see some selling into the open, and I would be looking at those support areas that I gave for where the price could come down to.
Okay. All right, we'll see what we get there. CPI.
Pot stocks made pop, says Robert. Wouldn't you know it? They already have.
I talked about that a little bit earlier. We did have that reclassification. We had some news yesterday, but we had more of it today. They're all taking the next leg up. All of them are on watch here today, Robert.
All of them are on watch. I'm not convinced that these are going to start taking off now.
No, so I think what you're trying to say there, 13, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like if you have some of these, maybe consider selling into the pop today. There's another pretty big catalyst that's going to need to get figured out before we have like the larger prolonged move in some of these companies.
Yeah, this doesn't just make things automatic for banks and for the businesses themselves. It's a massive step. But there are still a lot of things that need to happen in order for these to trade better and not just be complete money hungry losers like they have been. So with the Safe Banking Act, I think is one thing that still needs to pass legislation, and as well as a couple of other things. But this is going to help open up more research. And like I said, this is just a step. It's a big step, but a lot of other things need to still happen.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff on the pot stocks. QuantumScape. Was this on your list? This is just a pop on earnings. So, okay. I definitely want to let you talk about this. QuantumScape up 33.52%. Again, it's moving on earnings, so I won't repeat that. We'll just get to 13's breakdown here. But a quick look at the percent of float short, 18.2%. So definitely high days to cover there at 967. On average, stock trades 13 million shares. We're almost at 10 million prior to the open. Float on this one much thicker than some of the other movers that we look at, just about 500 million. But 13, what do you think here on ticker QS QuantumScape?
So this one, this has a very large float. So a lot of times what we've seen with this one is that we'll have some news and PR that'll take it up in the pre-market. And then once we open, it becomes a little bit harder to trade. That size of that float really hampers down the upside. So I think we could end up seeing some more of that. This is a company that despite their earnings they just had, where they said they didn't lose as much money, they still lose over $100 million every quarter, and they don't have any revenue. So maybe this could be one to, if you have a position in QS, maybe take some profit, fade this. I think we're going to see this potentially come back in. Support levels that I've got a level out here for 950. That is going to be the nearest support for now. Let me look at my 5-minute chart here. That's even above the VWAP. So that's going to be the first stop on the way down. It's going to be 950 as support, and VWAP is at 940 at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute at 915. And those are going to be the next three. And even $9 I would put out there as a support. But then once you fall beneath that, we start getting into some drops where I think they could fall by like 20, 25 cents pretty quickly here until you get down to the 200 EMA. So that's, I don't think I would want to be buying this into the open. I'd be nervous about the stock or the profit taking and the selling out of the open here. So great that they want to, expand into data centers and be part of that U.S. electrical infrastructure that we need. But the company has no revenue, loses a lot of money every quarter, and their share structure is massive, and it's going to be hard to trade. So don't know how much upside there's going to be with this one.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. 13. Now the next, let me know if you have anything else on your list.
I only looked at ACAN.
I was going to say, that's part of the pot theme. So the rest of the stocks on this list here look like they're either pot related, or it's an ETF. I guess Mobileye is popping here. That's on the back of its earnings. Axie is popping here. This was, remember, this thing initially moved on the litigation with Apple, or the lawsuit that it ended up winning. I don't see anything new here on that. So, okay. So it looks like a lot of let me go to ACAN here, 13. This one is the low float. So what I already kind of talked about this a little bit. So I'm going to turn this over to you. I'm actually going to step away here for a sec, but go ahead and break down ACAN. When I get back, we'll take tickers until we open here.
All right. Let me go here to this chart. So ACAN, looks like we are already starting to roll over here. It was kind of going sideways when I was looking at it this morning, but it is much lower now. So this is already fading. I think this is what we're going to end up getting with a lot of these cannabis names. This one, let me pull my notes back out. This one has 534,000 shares. I don't have a real read on their balance sheet. This didn't have the information on here for Pro, but the company has very little revenue. It loses money, and it's losing its value right now. Coming down to the 200 EMA, where that's going to be just above $11. I think that's going to be the next support we hit, if not $12. $12 also looks like that could be a support area as well. But I think this is coming back in. You may get some support around that 200 EMA, but if we end up losing that, there's another support area down at 9. And then you have, I would also say every dollar beneath that is also a potential support level, 8, 7. It just seems like every dollar you run into some support and resistance, as was the case on the way up yesterday. And then I saw, Jay, you'd mentioned that, what was that one that we were talking about earlier? Trying to think of the ticker, AMSC, that's it. Yeah, that one has been fantastic, and I'm glad that this is still going here. Where are we at with this one? Just had a nice big breakthrough through the 200 EMA, the 200-day SMA, and we're in gap fill territory. This thing is a little extended though, so let's say, Jay, maybe this does continue to fly and fill that gap. I think that's going to be your signal to sell this, because this thing is getting pretty extended, and if it continues to go up, we're going to, I think maybe that's the spot around 55.50 to maybe as high as 60 could be the spot where we're going to want to be out of this. You tell me what you think, Jay. But AMSC, that's what a great move this has been. This has been awesome. How's Keel looking? I'll give you my opinion in just a moment here. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on? ASMC. I just joined at the tail end of ASMC there. Yeah,
because I had finished talking about ACAN and how this is already leaking down. There's it seems like every dollar down, there's a support area. But then I wanted to address what Jay was mentioning earlier, because I had brought up American Superconductor Corporation a while back, and he liked it and I liked it, and this thing has just been awesome. And now we have a gap up here this morning. That's filling. Well, it's moving through a gap from November last year, but I think we're getting pretty close to where we're going to be taking profits here in this one, because it's getting really, really extended. I mean, it's super extended right now, over 80 RSI with this. If we opened right now, so I think that we're going to see potentially a little bit more upside, but I think we're getting pretty close to where sellers are going to really start to step in. That's just me though. And then Keel Retro wanted to look at
KEEL, right?
Yep.
Got it.
Let's see what we got here. This one also moving up. Did this have news? Announces closing of pay sale. This is from yesterday, so I don't know what's moving it here today, but it might just be a continuation, I guess. I don't know. But to me, this one looks like you are also getting a little extended here. I think this could still maybe move higher, but I think once you start getting to 350, we're going to be a lot more extended. I don't know that there would be a whole lot more upside to go beyond that, absent some kind of news or catalyst that drives it higher. It's just getting a little extended. Some of the resistance levels that I would be concerned about, 330 and 355, 360. We're approaching those. So I think that you're going to start to see a little bit more resistance as we get up there. Once this cools off, though, we could go back up to those areas and push through them.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Keel. Let's see, what else do we want to take a look at here? CPIX popped again right before the open. Looks like that's going for 6. AUUD is still held that support area that you talked about, 13, but also still below the VWAP. PAPL, this has been a recent mover for us. This is popping here, but still a penny stock and penny territory.
Hold on, let me look at that real quick. I didn't cover
Which
that
one? Sorry?
Pineapple. I didn't cover that one, but I'm just looking. You just had that chart. That doesn't look good to me. That looks like that could come right back in.
Sure.
After we
it's
open.
It's also penny stocks. They don't look good to me either.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got this head and shoulders formation going. I think this is going to not be so great today.
Carbon County Planning Commission. Boy, there's a lot of C's there. And data centers back on the agenda this week, where Keel is planning one.
And they just redomiciled.
Yeah.
Hey, so that's great information, and that's the kind of news that could help lift this up further. But as I was pointing out, this is still getting extended. There's going to be a point where this comes back in, and that's not too far away, in my opinion.
And you know, the looking to add to the Russell, that would also be notable. Izzy asking about Netflix here. So here's the pop. That takes us to 94.55. Izzy, we were just kind of looking at this. The bigger concern that I have right now, the content problem that we outlined here not going away, but we also have this head and shoulders formation. And remember, on the larger chart, we had predicted where a right shoulder could possibly form. And it sure looks like that's what's happening. So, I mean, unless Netflix can really kind of invalidate this pattern, or unless something fundamentally happens, or unless their Reddit army of loyal supporters changes the way they think about Netflix, ultimately, I think this is still probably looking to print lower, albeit it is popping 1.2% here today.
And I think this share repurchase is a bit of a slap in the face to the consumers of this company, the customers. We're going to raise your subscription fee, and then we're going to buy back our own shares. I think that's a big slap in the face to your subscriber base. I think the bigger news also is what happened yesterday when they're trying to move into a more TikTok style feed for, they call it snackable viewing. That's not a bad idea. I think that's a very, very smart move. I think that's going to be better. But here's the problem. Content. They don't have these content creators that TikTok and YouTube and all these other social platforms have. But I think that's a smart idea, but they just need to be able to get the content. It's still a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Lion here saying expect defense stocks to do well in the second half of 2026. He's talking to Knights Lance, who's always on those defense stocks. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. We are seeing a pullback. I'm looking at the ITA ETF here. We are seeing a pullback 13. We talked about a pullback in some of the individual names like NOC, LMT, RTX.
How about bear market? These are in bear markets. These are in bear markets. These are over 20% down off their highs. These are in bear markets. These aren't pullbacks. These are getting hammered.
But it's starting to look like maybe this is a spot to start adding, especially if you have a long-term view.
Right. Absolutely. Because these are just really overdone selling moves. I think we're going to start seeing some support kick in with a lot of these names. NOC should be one of the first ones to start seeing that support. But we also pointed out with RTX yesterday how this was coming down to, I think the group and myself were all talking about 175 to 180, and here it is. We got that, but I think there could still be a little bit more downside, but we are seeing the 200-day SMA kind of kicking as support. So we need to see that hold up. RSI on a lot of these is already sub 30. In some cases, I think it's underneath 20. But I think Lions was right. And these charts look, these are really overdone to the downside. And I think that this represents a good long-term buying opportunity.
Yeah, and the last time RTX was on sale, I actually ended up making like 15 points off of it, and I piked it. I mean, I should have held it for much longer than that. So, all right, we'll see here on the ETFs. Let's open this market up.
Let's see what we got here. So AUD trying to hold this level here at the open, try to push up towards that trend line.
All right, we are open, folks.
And ACAN, not doing enough out of the gate just yet. QS going down initially. AUD.
CPIX trying to go for 6 right out of the open here.
Let's see here. All right, so we are getting a little bit more support here in AUD with that 650 area. We're going for 7. 7 has a bit of size. VWAP still at 725, so that could be the that's going to be the big resistance area, I think, past 7.
Here we go on AUD. This is starting here.
Yep. VWAP's next. Honeywell alert. I'll take a look at that.
Honeywell, I believe, reported earnings this morning, right? And they were trading lower. Yep.
Yeah.
Lowered guide.
Lower guide.
AUUD, by the way, went right to the VWAP there and stopped. So far, we'll see if that holds up here. SPY is trying to trade up out of the open here, but I'm going to let that settle a little bit.
Yeah,
Honeywell's popping. Yep.
Well, I mean, it gapped down, and we opened beneath the 200-day SMA, and this thing had a sub 30 RSI when we opened. So I think that at the very least there's going to be a bounce. Not sure if we're going to see a recovery. I think that 220 area is going to be a tough area to recapture. Here we are with AUD through the trend line.
Say, right through that, it popped in. Man, that happened fast right there.
Yep, fantastic stuff.
I think that 775.8 is going to be your resistance level.
We're going to go into an upside halt. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. We were paused there just for a moment.
Let's take a look at CAR. So the continued downside here in CAR, 388. Congrats to everyone that is short this one.
Now we might go into a halt with AUD.
794 is going to be that halt.
And halted.
Halted. There you go. Right. AUD. Good mention there, 13.
Congratulations. If you took that, that was a fun little ride there.
Boom.
QS, big down. Lost the VWAP, lost the 65 EMA. Getting some support from 880, but I don't know if we're going to recapture all these levels that we just lost and go higher. 10, I'm not sure about. ACAN, meanwhile, that's lower. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say Netflix dropped and traded right back to where it was. Palantir is dropping, Palo Alto is dropping, and Bitcoin sitting right at about 77,500.
All right. BA pushing. That's great. Yeah, Mark, man, we are on AUD. Don't you worry. Hopefully you got a piece of that as well.
You're all out of that on that pop, or are you still in it for the halt?
No, I'm not in this anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say I would have liquidated that going into the halt for sure. We'll see if it pops coming out of it.
It still might provide a good number of trades because we've broken through this trend line. The next thing I think that could happen, I mean, we could push higher up to that pre-market high, but I would like to see a back test of that trend line, and that would take us down near VWAP. If we go back down to VWAP and get support there, I think you're getting set up for another trade.
Okay. All right. Mark's out too. I tell you what, registering for anyone on AUD. That worked. That worked early here. Okay. So market still not able to break 710. We actually talked about that yesterday. Kathy here trying to exit AUD at 811 out of the halt. It's like what, 10 cents higher than where it halted at?
Like 17, yeah, about that 17 cents, yeah, from where we're halted at.
Seeing a lot of Tesla call flow here.
Now, if you believe that everything that NVIDIA touches is great, then you may have a position in inflection. That's come down after we had that big run earlier this week. But
hey, your IRDM halted to the upside 13. They reported earnings here today, went lower. Now they pretty much went red to green. Yep, red to green move there into a halt, 40.5 IRDM.
Next
CPIX also halted. This one to the downside.
Palantir dip. DDI is mentioning ADMA. Let's see what that's about. Another biotech here. It looks like it's I don't see any news here today. Most recent news is that Canaccord Genuity gave it a $21 price target and gave it a buy rating. Don't see anything else. I don't know if it's running with anything. You look and see exactly what they do. We have seen a lot of biotechs run of late. I don't know if it's just one of those rising tide issues, but I don't see anything on the news feed. So I don't know why it's running. Intel is up, unless that's actually another ticker you're talking about.
No, Intel reports earnings tonight. They were higher here this morning, 13. They are still higher by 4% here today.
Okay, because INTL is main international ETF, and that's not doing anything today.
All right, market is trying.
Oh,
excuse me. Sorry about that.
All
Market
right.
is trying to pop here. Yeah, I'm okay. Market is trying to pop here. I did get a signal, an entry signal there on the SPY indicator.
Looks like QS is going to lose 880 here. There's a buyer at 880. So that might also be a support area here, but it's turning around. So there may be an attempt to recapture VWAP here with QS, but I don't know if anybody really wants to trade that. I still think this is going to head lower.
QS.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's going on here with inflection? Because this is just on a tear. Right?
All right, out one scalp there on the SPY bump. I don't know if it's going to move through 710. If it can clear 710, I'd feel a little bit more confident about some more upside. But is it struggling right at 710 right now? So we'll just book that for the time being. TRT is moving. We saw that one in the pre-market. What's up?
Audio up higher, coming up to the pre-market highs.
Kathy, you got your fill there?
Yep, she got her fill.
Boom, registering for Kath. There we go.
All right, now we're getting a little weakness as we were approaching those pre-market highs. Would love to see a back test of this trend line and the VWAP. But this thing hasn't turned around quite yet. All right, what's the other ones doing? ACAN coming down to 200 EMA and QS lower.
Aconda Williams. Boom. Nice job there on AUUD. That's actually been a pretty good mover for us right out of the gate. Now it's through the pre-market high. So the next level there. Oh, good stuff.
Let's see here. I'm going to try to find some more levels here for us. Because, that took out all the ones I had for this morning.
Awesome. And Lion here saying I'm up 111% on the car puts. Now, see, here's the thing, Lion. IRDM's open, by the way, and moving higher. Here's the thing about that. This thing dropped over 400 points. You're up 100% on that. That just shows that those implied volatilities were so high. You had to get the timing right. Now, kudos to you. You did get the timing right, and this is a big-time profitable trade for you. But it's not easy.
Audia is faulted again. To the upside, I think that once we unhalt the resistance levels, I'd be keeping an eye on. I think this is what I would be looking at here. It's just under $10. I want to say 985 to 10 is somewhere in there. I think is the next resistance area. If we move through that, I have 1145 and 1250 as the next upside resistance areas. Don't know if we'll hit all that, but that's what I've got.
Good stuff. It looks like the SPY did go through 710, so it's trying to push higher. We'll see if we get another opportunity for that. Yeah, Ryan, those puts were expensive. That's what I mean. Like I said, if the trade worked out, if the timing was good, it was going to work. And working for 111% is nothing to turn your nose up at. It's not as easy of a short as we kind of all thought that it would be, just because of the way those options were structured there. I still think you might get a bounce in that, though. We'll see. Tesla's going for red green. You're right. It's only 1% away, Chris. We actually saw Tesla call buying on the unusual options scanner right out of the open, FYI. And IRDM continuing to print highs, recapturing 42.13. That is a red to green move. It's now up 4%.
Awesome morning, folks.
Yeah, it sure is.
This is fun.
It is.
Inflection's doing great. That's still. I think this is sniffing out 16. QS still coming down to that 200 EMA. They were about to test it. Man, this was a heavy ass float. I don't know what, I mean, obviously they still don't, they lose a lot of money, but man, that float, that just makes it so hard to trade.
NVTS getting mentioned here by Kath.
Space not having a good day. Let's look at the Space watch list. Yeah, most of them are not. I think a lot of it might have something to do with the Ryan. You talked about it yesterday. The what was that company? You'll have to bring it up to us, because I think that's what a lot of these satellite names were worried about. But
that was NN. Okay, yeah. So let me actually find the Oppenheimer note here real quick, so I can read from the note. So here's NN. This is the stock that 13 is referencing. I did buy this yesterday for a very quick swing trade. I ended up getting this in the 1640s, low 1640s there. And it's trading higher. Yesterday it was really, really good. It's trading higher here again today. I do think I can get 20 to 21 out of this, but let me grab the note sheet so that I can read you exactly what's going on with this one. This was interesting to me, and I bought this because basically there was two defense notes. B. Riley came out in defense of NetNav yesterday. B. Riley is what it is, but then Oppenheimer came out. Oppenheimer's really good. Here's what's going on, and I'll be very brief about this. NN was down 30+% yesterday. House Appropriations Committee proposed a rider on the fiscal 2027 financial services and general government budget that would block the FCC from reconfiguring using the lower 900 megahertz band under NN's petition. This change was proposed by Republican Representative Steve Womack of Arkansas, who argues that the change would disrupt retail supply chains. What's notable here is that the negotiation. Tests so far have not shown any interference with RFID or other devices. Also, Trump doesn't want this. So this is pretty much being viewed as like a Hail Mary shot from this Steve Womack, U.S. representative, and is likely not going to pass. There's also regulatory hurdles. My thought here is that NN was going to recover and get back towards 20 in relatively quick order. You had the really good insight there that said this is probably affecting some of the other satellite companies, and indeed that's the case.
Yeah, so I don't, want to lean into the idea that this is affecting all space names, but it certainly was hitting the satellite-related names yesterday. So, and then space has been on a really good run. So there's going to be some profit taking at some point. We could also be seeing that today, but I don't think the theme's done whatsoever. Meanwhile, we have ACAN that's getting some support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. And QS just hit there, and it's going through that 200 EMA on its 5 minutes. So next support area down here for QS is going to be closer to $8.
All right. Good stuff there. Invest saying, guys, what's happening with CRM? We can take a look at that. That's, of course, going to be Salesforce. This down 8% here. It looks like they traded down yesterday and then taking another leg down here today. Here's what's going on. Yesterday in the morning, we had the news about the partnership with Google, but that was it, really. AI anxiety returns. ServiceNow, IBM earnings drag software names down. So what's going on here with CRM? This is a result of some of the software earnings. The notable one was now from yesterday. That sounds weird just because of the ticker. Ticker NOW, ServiceNow, because of its report yesterday, this down now 15%. That's dragging some of the other software names down. That's exactly what's going on in CRM.
Audia unhalted, went up to 1010 and reversed. And now it's halted to the downside, halted right at some of the highs from the pre-market. So that was a really nice one there. Once we open, I think what we're going to want to watch for is that VWAP support. That's going to be down around 760.
SPY is continuing to push higher here. Might have been out of that one a little too early, unfortunately, but that's okay.
One thing that I'm doing some work on, and I don't, I think it could end up passing, is the Match Act. This is a piece of legislation that's moving through Congress right now that's designed to restrict exports of chips to China and other countries like them. But I think it already has gone through the House, and I think it has to move to the Senate. But I still need to do some work on it. It's just something that I think could materially affect some of these chip names, because it's interesting because it comes at a time when China is really starting to feel the pressure of chip shortages, like high capacity, like memory and NVIDIA chips. They're experiencing a severe shortage of those. They really need better chips, and they're not getting them. And this act coming at this time would put even further pressure on that sector for them. So I'm doing some work on this. I don't have a whole lot yet, but it's just something I'm putting out there. If you folks want to take a look at it, they just there's been an update in the past 24 hours with the Match Act. So something I think that if you're in semiconductors, definitely take a look at that.
Yeah, that would be for all of our Marvell traders there too. By the way, CPIX, this did try to get back above its VWAP, could not do that. Actually, it looks like it might be rolling over here. This would be one to watch. CPIX. S&P in the market continuing to trade higher here. We're well above 710 now. Looks like 711 coming.
Oh boy. Bello 3D Systems is on it again.
Up another 9% here today.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, this thing has big time moves.
Oh yeah. This thing has been awesome. Jay, you still in Bello? Let me know.
BA NVIDIA at highs per Chris. I am seeing right at the same time there. NVIDIA calls getting bought into this move higher here.
Broadcom new all-time highs apparently too. From Josu Coronado.
That's Jay Harris.
Oh, thank you, Jay Harris. Yeah, that one, and but this is very extended. I think that we're going to potentially see some selling here pretty soon. Also, not NVIDIA, AMD hit their it went over 300 yesterday. That was a level that I had a little order to take some shares off the table, so trimmed there at 300. But this looks like we're going to be going much higher. But I do need to see this cool off. We're over 83 RSI right now. Would love to see this come back and test the trend line that we just broke through. IBM ripping higher. IBM it looked like it was presenting a really good opportunity yesterday with the earnings taking it down so much yesterday. Where did we end up going here? So this came down to almost 220. Who did we have in our happy hour group yesterday saying that 220 was probably going to be where they were going to see support? I
think that was Tim.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't disagree because it certainly looks like that's a support area, but I don't think this is ultimately where we bottom out at. I'm not convinced of that yet. So I would still expect this to come in lower. I'm thinking 200 to 205, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Nokia is not above 11 this morning. What's Nokia at? I mean, that's been on another juiced up run lately as well. So wouldn't be surprised if we started to see a little bit of weakness in some of these runners like this one has. So this one also had earnings. It ran up into earnings. And we had this news that, popped it and we're selling into that, filling the gap. Maybe once you fill that gap from where yesterday's close was what, 986. Did we end up filling that gap yet? Not quite. I would say if we fill that gap, it could continue to the upside. That would be my, one of my observations here.
Nokia continuing to come in here. Ed Edwards saying that MSOS up in smoke. This was up a lot earlier, down now, red to green on MSOS. Interestingly enough, not all of the individual names doing the same thing. CGC still holding here. Tilray, someone brought this up earlier. This still holding higher here by 2.6%, but this giving it back too.
Audia is open. It opened lower from the red candle that we had. It's trying to climb back up. It's now recapturing a lot of levels here, looking for 9. This thing, okay, well, I guess that was my pullback. Didn't quite.
I was going to say that happened fast. 13
didn't quite go down to my VWAP, but there it is either way. We got to see if it can climb back over 10. It's already running into trouble in 9. Anyway, QS is doing everything that it should be doing, selling off. SOS for MSOS. I have a trend line for NVIDIA at 203.36. Be very surprised NVIDIA does not come back below it. I cannot focus on anything else. I'm watching car drop like a jet fighter hit with an anti-missile rocket. What?
It's just well, how do you follow that up? I mean, how do you follow that up?
Well, with a lot of inappropriate comments.
Yeah, that's why there was silence. And that's why I'm laughing.
My brain was like, you better not. My mouth was like, please. Yeah, my brain was like, don't you dare.
I was too. Here it is on car. So I guess not getting a bounce, at least not yet.
Visa is dropping hard. Now, what is the news? They have earnings in 5 days. They are dropping pretty hard here. Looks like.
How's MasterCard doing? Same deal? Yep. MasterCard also at the lows.
Is there some kind of concern about all these charge-offs that banks are doing? Or are we worried about, credit? What's going on here, Visa? Any tweets that you see?
XLF back down to 52. This trade's still not going to work, Lion, even though this is down, unfortunately.
Audia is still trying to reclaim 9, but not having a good time doing it. Might turn red.
AVEX getting mentioned by Ed. That's the drone play. It's up 10.6%.
Fantastic.
This is actually a pretty decent trade. This did the whole. I don't know what the reason to buy here was, but this ended up working pretty well. Will BIND break resistance? BYND has been moving here this week. Doesn't look good about today, though, Rustam. Doesn't look good here on BIND. It might break resistance to the downside. We call that support. SPY still trying to hold higher here and push above 710.
Looks like QS is trying to reclaim the 200 EMA. I'm seeing a series of candles here. It looks like it's trying to put a bottom in reverse. Maybe not this candle, possibly the next one. Watch for a recapture of the 200 EMA. That might take us up to at least the VWAP. ACAN potentially going to lose its 200 EMA here if it doesn't get this support now.
Let's check on CPIX. Okay, that got rejected from the VWAP. Can't do anything yet. AUD, which you guys have been covering, that's coming back on, but basically at the pre-market resistance. CRM new lows on the back of the Now report. How's Texas Instruments holding up after its report? Oh, very well. Wow, Texas Instruments, this took another leg higher. Okay, so a gap and go here.
Yeah, AVEX is having a nice morning.
That sure is.
Car is halted to the downside.
Is it halted now?
Yeah, it's halted. 313.97.
Oh, baby. All right. Get ready for your next leg of shorts paying, Lion. Get ready.
Western Digital is ripping up.
Netflix trading down. It's like that's trying to solidify its head and shoulders formation. Western Digital, this is basically at the highs from yesterday.
Yeah, it's trying to see if it can print new all-time highs. I wouldn't be a buyer here of Western Digital. This thing is very extended. It's been on a massive run. I don't want to say bad things about the company, but just looking at the stock, this is very extended, and I think we need to come back in.
Micron down almost 2%, by the way, in contrast with Western Digital. SanDisk down 2.25%.
STX Seagate, that's also the same thing as Western Digital. That one also looks like it needs to cool off as well. This one has earnings in 5 days. Western Digital in 7 days.
LRCX, that reported earnings yesterday too. That was Lamb Research. That's up 2% here.
Thinking about it, mentioning ITMSF. Intermap up for huge Indonesia mapping of contract of 200 million. Bid public opening, financial scheduled for April 30th. Big tell on who gets the award.
ITMSF.
Yeah.
This is an OTC stock. Interesting.
All right. What's looking good right now? Audia, not able to hold those levels. It finally came down to VWAP. Not sure if I want to take a trade here. And it's not even halted, but it's not moving either. Is it halted? It's not halted, is it? I don't have this indication. Is it halted?
Okay. Well, yeah, halted. AUUD halted, downside 783.
Usually I have an indication that it is. I don't have one here on my broker. All right. It is halted. So, yeah, I don't think I want to take a trade here while it's halted at the VWAP. I don't think that'd be a very good idea. Looks like inflection went to 1588, coming right back in close to where we started. That's fine. I still think it's one of the best quantum plays out there.
Did you say 12 or 13 as the reload spot here on INFQ? I can't remember. I think we talked about this a couple of days ago.
12 or 13. Let's look. Let's look here. Yeah, because I think I was kind of lining it up closer with the 20-day SMA. So that's going to bring it down closer to 12. Still looks like we could come in some more. So yeah, I think I don't think it's really the time to start going long in this for a trade. If you believe in it and it's you're more of a long term, then I don't think here is too bad. But it still looks to me like there's better prices lower.
Green to red on Tesla, indeed. So 385 Bigabs, that got absolutely roped and brought back down. I keep getting killed buying in the pre-market, says Ed. Now you're starting to figure out why I don't do a lot of buying and trading in the pre-market.
Could I tell us what the low and mid cap semiconductor sector stocks I like? Gosh, I don't really know if I had a whole list of that. Let me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what some of those are. I think we talked about Pega yesterday, right? Jay Rice brought up PEGA yesterday. We've looked at INDI in this sector before, 13. There might have been another one, but I can't remember the ticker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a list of these that I like. I'm just taking a glance at them as we're covering them. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and it's got this, it's got that, but I don't think I've got a list of semi names that I really like that are small. The ones that I'm in are Broadcom and AMD.
The bigger ones, yeah.
Yeah, the bigger ones. So I don't really have a lot of any of these small ones really. Sorry, Joe. All right, ACAN trying to claim that 200 EMA. Audia hasn't unhalted yet. QS still not able to recapture the 200 EMA yet either.
Here's TRT, by the way. This is that Trio Tech that we talked about earlier. This is going for that pre-market high. Volume actually looks really good on this too.
Thinking about it, probably needs a register ring here. He sold. I mean,
yeah, he does.
Is this you that sold 85% of your holdings? Because man, if you banked 86K on that, that's a big register ring.
That is a register ring for sure. Thinking about it, really good stuff on that.
Well done.
Really good stuff.
I'm just waiting here. Look out at QS. You're going to try to do it. I'm just keeping an eye on QS, see if it actually recaptures it. Because if it does recapture the 200 EMA, I think we could see an attempt to go back over VWAP.
SPY coming back into 710. We actually have the VWAP supporting it right there near 710. Palantir continuing to come in. You're asking what's going on with Palantir. AUUD is open. That is flirting with its VWAP right now, although it looking like it's trying to push lower here. Yep, there's another move lower. Volume is pretty big here on AUUD as it continues to pull. AUUD.
Yeah. And now we are back testing. Well, not that we were back testing the trend line. We've just moved through it. Next support area 650, unless we halt here.
Webcoin saying the PDT rule I'm hearing is June 4th as the date to end it. I think, Joe, didn't you say that you called somebody earlier? Let me see if I can find that comment. Sorry, 13. A Schwab rep, thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
A Schwab rep tells me that they're planning to remove the PDT on June 4th. That's the tentative plan. So for all of you still struggling with that stupid rule, looks like this is it.
Okay, so we are halted here in AUD. I'm just still watching Velo 3D Systems climb. One thing I want to point out with this one, where I've been, I like the company, I like what they do, but the chart is, it's been helping me determine where I want to, enter in this. If you look at a monthly chart, this looks like we have been putting in a big reversal pattern here since September of 2024. And I think we're getting pretty close to finally getting a close above 20 in the, if not, this month and, pretty soon, like maybe this quarter. It looks like we're trying to come back up to recapture 20. We've been holding above the 20-month SMA this is now the 4th month now. It looks like this is, potentially an inverse head and shoulders pattern here that's taking shape with the neckline potentially either at 20 or 30. I'm going to lean on 20 for now because we're getting pretty close to a breakout. We've broken through some downtrend lines. $20 is my next target here. I want to see a move through it.
SPY went through the VWAP there. Dead AI said the E-mini Qs are almost green. The futures here pulling back. We'll see if the futures hold at VWAP. SPY lost it though. Zero DTE options volume is going to be insane during the early part of no PDT, I would think. Forsman, I would agree with you. I would think that there are people that are going to try. They're going to be like, oh my God, the restrictions are gone. I'm going to trade a lot. Car 300 break looks like it's on deck here, folks.
Oh, man.
Lion, I better get an invite to the private party. Maybe you can get me a small piece of the island that you're going to buy or something. But with as much money as you're making on this and with as quiet as you are, I know you're celebrating out there.
He'll provide you with the rental car.
Oh. Of course he would.
Yeah, it is a massive purpose.
There you go.
Well done, Lion.
13K on the car crash.
Buy a new car with that.
It
would be an economic model, but good. So Palantir looking for support from the 50-day SMA right now. Fell back beneath that trend line that we had drawn. 142 is support that that's a support level that I've got here. But that's if we lose the 50 and 20-day SMAs. That's the next level I have.
Real quick here, Bickabee is saying, I'm trying not to look at my car position. Can you tell us what position? Is it a long position? Is it a short position? I think that would tell us a lot about why you're not looking at it.
I think I'm just going to going out on a limb here. I think he doesn't want to look at it because it would break his discipline, and he probably want to take profit now. He might be getting for lower.
That's why I asked. Bickabee is no stranger to holding for those big moves. That lesson that you gave on UNH was something else. That was both directions, if I recall.
He'll have to tell us if that's true or not. But that's
there goes Carr. Break a 300, quick 9-point pull down to 291.
Fantastic.
I'll tell you what, Jay Rice, if you're still out there, I know we talked to David Prince earlier and he opted not to go with this, but his initial idea of options 2 weeks out, I know there would have been some pain going through that, but man, that time frame was perfect. Car is halted, by the way. I don't know if I said that. It's as halted at 291 to the downside. All red candles, all red volume candles. The sellers are out, folks.
I imagine we're going to start hearing some horror stories soon.
Yeah, me too.
QS taking the next leg down here. New lows for the session, looking for 8. Looking for 8. And what else is everybody trading right now? Because it doesn't seem like there's a very large landscape aside from the larger things that we've been talking about here. But as far as these movers go, Audia is open, by the way.
I was just going to say.
Sorry. As long as
you got it. You got it. You did the work for me.
As far as these movers go, there's a very, very slim amount of pickings here, it seems.
APLD, you're right, Retro. I apologize for not getting to this sooner. AUD trying to bounce, recapturing 7 there. But APLD, this actually took out the pre-market highs.
AUD finding some support here, has a task now trying to recapture VWAP, which is up at a resistance area. So we'll see what we get out of AUD. I don't have a position in this.
Yeah, neither do I, and I've got 758 as that VWAP to see if it gets over. Keel at highs. Jay Rice says, Ryan, I shorted XTN. That's the State Street Spider Transportation ETF. I shorted that. It had a 9% weighting in car. So this got destroyed yesterday on that 9% weighting. We moved down lower here today.
Interesting.
That was a good trade, Jay. Here, I'm going to give you a register ring on that too, honestly.
What names are in this for transportation? Is this like freight, or is this like other companies like GM? And help me out with the transportation here, because one of the things that we were looking at here, I think it was CSX. They were they
reported earnings. Yep.
Yeah, they had, and then we also had UNP. They reported earnings as well. I think they're also up. Yep. So I'm kind of wondering, what's in this transportation, because the rail names seem to be doing pretty good, and I think also FedEx had reported some pretty good numbers too. So it seems like there's some well, according to what the train companies are saying, they're seeing an increase in business because of reshoring of manufacturing and build out of infrastructure. So I guess I'm just kind of curious, what transportation does that cover in that ETF?
I used AI to see what ETF held the most car. Options were expensive. Oh, we talked about that all morning. The options were insane. The implied volatility. That's not a bad use of the AI there. In fact, who was it earlier that was asking you about Claude? Was that not Acorns? That was somebody else, I think. And that is gone.
Okay.
That comment is gone. I missed if you responded to that. By the way, AUD tried to bounce. That was rejected at VWAP once already.
Okay, so I guess that kind of answers my question a little bit there, because if car is in that ETF, then it's probably going to cover a broad range of transportation. So it could be the manufacturers, the rentals like car. Hertz is probably in there as well. So and I'm sure that's probably going to also have maybe some boat and airline names in there as well. But I'm just guessing. You'll have to tell me.
Boat show. We have a really annoying commercial here that you just reminded me of. That's my own fault.
QS down to 8.
Westcap says car's been unbelievably great. Been holding puts to 700. Westcap, today is your day, buddy.
QS getting some support from the $8 level. We have a reversal candle here for the moment. Still have a minute left in this candle, so not sure what it's going to end up looking like after that minute, but it's looking like it is trying to get support from 8.
Bird and Carr have been the best trades of the year. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Those are two of the better movers here. AUD absolutely slapped Wembenyama, you could say, from the VWAP there as that continues to roll. We'll see if that holds on to 7. Dead AI thinks Palantir bottoms at 144. That's right where we're at now. If that ends up being true, that is going to be a timely call right there.
Got 142 marked as a support level here. In my view, I think we are going lower, but you might be right. But I still think that we're going to be inside this downtrend channel for a while.
Ondas pull, that's not having a great day after after yesterday. Let's see how AVEX, this is having a good day. Let's see how Swarmer's doing. That's down 2.5%. AUUD still trying to bounce here, still holding on to 7.
Less capital. Would you say a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the car?
I like that. I don't think I really understand what that actual adage means, but I like the modified one for situation. AUD still trying to bounce. Going to challenge its VWAP again. I've got it at 758. Keel at the highs.
I'm just looking for something that's interesting right now. AVEX still climbing. One that we traded earlier, I think this week, INBX is up 12.5%.
Someone else mentioned that this morning too. I didn't get to it, but
Rigetti is lower, so RGTZ is higher. That's up 11.5%. I'm just going through the list of some of these older ex-girlfriends here. UCAR up 10. Actually, UCAR is just having a power move today. It's up almost 10%. I think that makes sense, Forsman. I don't think that we're out of this oil shock yet. Thank you for the info, though. QS broke below 8. Is it continuing to trade lower? Because we did get go beneath 8 and then get some support. Yeah, it's much lower now. Yeah, I mean, okay. Next support areas, maybe 750. Like, I'm not trading this. I'm just telling you where I see the support. But this thing, as I pointed out in this morning, the float is so heavy it makes it very difficult to trade. And here we are giving back, gosh, almost the entire trade now, almost the entire move since after hours yesterday.
Zach, I agree with you. I do also think CAR can bounce. Yeah. Not UCAR, but CAR. I have UCAR up, so maybe that was confusing. I do think CAR can bounce before the next leg down. It's just worth noting that we haven't seen that yet here.
That's not a bad idea either, Buffalo. I've been doing the same thing. Use covered calls as a hedge.
Those pot names reversed, huh?
What, they're bouncing?
No, we took a look at MSOS earlier. That thing had really moved down. Now some of the individual names doing the same thing. CGC down. Let's check in on Tilray. That's down. I'm willing to bet SNDL and all the other day trader names are down here.
The one mentioned today, yep. ACAN is trying to reverse, but it's down off the highs of the pre-market, like way down. It did get some support down around the 200 EMA, but it's struggling to recapture some of these other levels. I think maybe 1250 could be a bit of a resistance area for ACAN if it gets back up there.
D-Pro's coming in. Some of the drone stocks are getting hurt. Canarp saying, Ryan, do you have that comment on Claude? No. So it was a chatter earlier said that Claude was the best for stock trading. And I asked for some more specifics on that, things that they could share with the group. They might have responded, but that was during the news block, and I didn't catch any of the comments. Whoever that was, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, let me know. Or let the group know. By the way, AUUD lost 7 with the quickness.
Yeah.
You're going to halt again here at 653 to the downside.
Yep, 65 EMA and the 650 area. Those are your support areas for now. Looks like they're in danger of being lost. UAMI was being mentioned here. It's not really doing a whole lot today. I mean, it's down like 7.5%. But to me, it looks like there's potentially a support area down around 915, 920. Somewhere between, I guess, 915 and 925, where those two SMAs are, the 20 and the 50 are. That would be support that I'd be looking at for you, Amy. I think that as the unresolved issue with rare earths between the U.S. and China is an ongoing thing, and tensions are starting to flare up again as we approach this potential meeting between Trump and Xi next month. I think rare earths need to be on everybody's mind. Critical minerals, copper. We need to be paying attention to all of that because I think we're going to see some moves in those names again. We've already started to see it with CRML and USAR. So I think we're getting going here with that, and we haven't had those tensions cooled off yet. So I think those are still very much in play. But you, Amy, I would say 915 to 925, probably where the price is going to come down for support.
This EUDA, this is halted. This is spiking though on something. This up 128% EUDA. All right. Here's CAR 270 now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that really is amazing. I wish that I had this short, honestly. I wish that I had the cojones Lions did to go into this.
To borrow a line from Andy.
I mean, look, he's been doing this for 40 plus years. Got to borrow some lines from him. SPY trying to trade higher here. We'll see if we get a bounce. Indicator actually flashing a buy signal. I'm not taking it though.
Thanks, Retro. Get on those wheels, man. Have a good rest of your day and enjoy the draft.
Yeah, enjoy it, man. I can't wait for I'm already, like, I hate to even say this now. I'm already in draft mode. Like, I just can't wait. This is one. I was explaining this yesterday. This is just, I consider myself a football nerd. This is one of my favorite days of the year, and they don't even play a game. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, isn't like, our fantasy draft one of the best days of the year?
Yeah, absolutely it is. But that's just the numbers nerd in me. I can't help that.
QS, we did get a move that took it back up to 8, but it's being rejected there at the moment.
Now, this is an interesting comment, Lion. Lion saying either we get rich, he's busting me about not taking CAR here, which is par for the course. But anyway, we either get rich or we go back to work, Ryan, LOL. I would say this, and maybe this is part of my problem. Just spitballing here. I always feel like I have to work, almost like a sense of purpose, right? Almost like I don't want to sit around and do nothing. I'm always trying to do something. I'm always trying to work. I currently love the job that I have. I've been no secret to that. But even if I did not have this, I would always be trying to do something. Maybe that mentality is getting in the way of taking big shots. What do you think about that, Lion? What do you think about that?
I don't think your mentality is getting in the way. You took a big shot with GEV and won.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so big though. I mean, I kind of added that small, but I'm just saying, like I looked at CAR. I said to myself, this is extremely risky and it's going to be volatile, but it's definitely going down several hundred points, and opted not to take that. I'm now totally out of CAR, but I believe it's going to go to 200. Have fun, Westcap. You already had your fun, brother. Really good stuff, and thanks for sharing that with the group there.
Yeah, you guys are just absolutely killing it today.
Losing is part of the game, Lion. Well, that's something we all have to get used to. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever got when getting into this career was that, Ryan, you have to learn how to lose money first before you learn how to make money. And it didn't make sense to me until I started losing.
Well, what's looking good here? Because I think we already pretty much nailed the idea here with QuantumScape, and it's nice to see that ACAN's coming back up, but I think we were about to hit a resistance area at 14. So watch for ACAN to maybe just come up here to the VWAP and or get rejected pretty soon here. It's like it's kind of doing right now, but still looks like this is going lower to me.
NN is looking good. AUUD is open and going lower. Not so good.
REPL gap fill to 5. Let's look at that. It's a biotech company with that's very heavily shorted and has high days to cover. So REPL, almost 39% of the float is shorted, 10.5 days to cover. What does this do exactly? Okay, so more. this is just it's another tumor one. So more oncology stocks, biotechs. I've seen a lot of these this morning. This, what is this moving off? Does this have a big this drop recently? Yes, it did. Okay, because this one had news earlier, right, about the FDA being this was rejected. This had an FDA rejection, and that's what took it down. So I think we're seeing a big rebound here off of this. And I mean, I don't know that we're going to see a gap fill that's going to take us up to 475. That's pretty much where this gap fills to. Very oversold. So I don't think this move that we're seeing here is unusual, but I think it could be limited.
Gary, this is actually a good mention. T-Zoo here, Travel Zoo, reported earnings this morning. This thing traded higher and is now going. So this up 48%, really good move after its earnings here. I wouldn't chase the move for a new buy, but this is definitely looking all right.
ACAN making another shot for the 65 EMA and then the VWAP.
And you were right about this one too. This actually looks like a fairly decent bounce, 13, given some of the backdrop of what we've seen here on the weed names.
Yeah, but I get the sense that we're going to see this get rejected up in this area, if not here, up around the VWAP. Okay, QS lower. Man, this thing has just been ugly today. It's probably going to give everything back. If it does, 730 is going to be that spot where I think it goes to. Car halted up. You finally seeing that now?
Here. Okay. Is it really?
A little bounce there. Okay, sorry for the dead air. I'm just trying to find something.
You're good, man.
Bello 3D Systems going even higher now, looking to break the pre-market high from yesterday. That was 1689. We're currently at a high of 1685.
Canarp says, Ryan, I've been looking for work for a long time now. AI is taking over. Let me ask you, what problems in your life can you identify, and can you create a solution using AI? Because one of the things that I think here is that the AI taking over. That's going to be a feeling, but I think that there's going to be a lot of problems that are solved because of what AI can allow for. And I guess my response to that would be to encourage you that try to solve a problem using AI, whether it's small or otherwise. And I'm willing to bet that might be a new job for you.
I think you're going to see a lot more requirements for AI in the workforce.
I think so too. We already heard that from Accenture. That was that's why I reported that, because that was one of the first companies that said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Like you need to do this if you want to advance. That to me is notable, 13.
Yeah. I think if you aren't learning to use AI and trying to apply it to daily life or to your work, you're not going to be the kind of person that companies are going to want to hire unless you're interested in sales or stocking shelves or things like that. It's going to create a gap between skill and unskilled work. I think that if you don't learn to use AI and you're still relatively young and you're doing jobs, I think you're going to be behind. I think you need everybody that's still working a job needs to teach themselves how to use AI, because I think the fear is that they can get left behind.
Kathy here is saying, any thoughts on an earnings play? Kathy, my big problem with this, first of all, I think this is going to beat, but my big problem with stocks that look like this going into earnings, if it trades up into earnings, I feel like it's more likely that it ends up pulling back, even if it puts up a good number. That being said, this thing has been on a huge run for a while. This has been great. I think that's probably beats, but I have no position on this one. This is going to be an expensive earnings trade to take on a run into earnings. That's my worry on this one. Lion, take care of yourself. Enjoy all the extra money here today. And then this comment from Jay Rice hits so hard. Lulu, when I saw that the new CEO is someone that they took from Nike, and then they covered some of the things that she sat over on Nike. I have a hard time thinking anything other than what Jay is outlining here. The new CEO is looking to do what she did at Nike, destroy it. New multi-year low. I'm a big proponent of good management teams. I've seen bad management teams wreck good companies. I've seen good management teams turn around bad companies. It matters. And I got to be honest with you, this news here, this is no good. This is no good. Multi-year lows. This chart already beaten down. Looks like it wants to roll over. I remember when we were talking about this bouncing off of 160, and boy, did we ever. We got a 60-point move on that. It looks like this is over. Now we're hunting a new level here. For me, I'd rather, Lulu, just thinking back to what Mark Petrino has told us, I'd rather this kind of confirm that the downside is over. I'm not sure we're there yet, especially with the new CEO.
If you go to a daily chart, bust out your tool for drawing a parallel channel. And we're going to do a little drawing here.
So say it one more time. Sorry.
Get your parallel channel tool.
Yep.
And draw, start with the highs from December of 2023 and run it through the highs of January 2025. And then just, extend the channel down to the low of, let's say, August 2024. And there's you can extend it in both directions. That's the parallel channel we're in until further notice. Yeah. We're just in that parallel channel for now.
I love this 13. That's perfect.
And you can extend this in the other direction and see how far back it goes. But that, yeah, until we break out of this, I think this is where the price is kind of contained in.
NN above 18 as we continue. Again, I think 2021 is my target there. NN, that trade is at least working. Rooster, take care of yourself. Enjoy your outdoor time. We appreciate all your support. Look forward to closing up the week with you tomorrow. Jay, another comment here from Jay Kobuz. I saw what AI could do for my job and figured if AI is going to replace my job, I might as well be the one that trains the agent. Now I'm self-employed. I focus on sales, tech, and support. Jay, that is awesome. That is the exact type of, forward-looking vision that we want to see out of people.
I think
Pot G, take care of yourself.
I think that's one thing that proponents of AI probably should be trying to push is that there's more independence may be realized by being able to use.
Elon Musk has been saying the same thing. People have been laughing at him, but he's been saying the same thing since the beginning of this. So, freedom is going to expand. Crime might go down. All of that, if you can just harness AI.
I think I'm a little skeptical on that one.
Me too. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying that this is not a new concept. This is something that's been floating out there in the zeitgeist already.
Criminals will use AI too. They already are.
Absolutely, they will.
So I'm a little skeptical about that.
I think that was more on the robot. They're like the robot following you around, and if anyone tries to jack your purse, the robot just F's them up.
It turns into a killbot. Okay.
Yo, if I had an Optimus robot that could literally take like rounds and like.
I'd call him Optimus. Be lopping arms off.
Family, like at that point, I would, if the robot's going to protect a family, let it do its thing. I mean, again, we'll see. Zach says he's a criminal. That's good to know.
Optimus comes packing. We'll call it Poptimus.
Poptimus. Take care of yourself, Wiss.
Sorry, you can tell it's almost 9:30 because I'm making really stupid jokes now.
Okay. Well, here, you know what we'll do? Don't forget, folks, we got a webinar coming up. The new era of prop trading, how traders are building careers in multi-asset prop like stocks and futures. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Learn how modern prop firms are creating structured pathways for traders to trade professional capital across stocks and futures. That live webinar with Jim Simons, the risk manager and prop shop trader, is today at 11. So it's in a half an hour from now. Links in the chat. QR code is on the screen. 13, with the bills paid now, why don't you give us a wrap here for the day?
Fun day hanging out with you guys, as always. Looking forward to what the last day of the week is going to provide for us. Great job on your car trades and options and puts. And you guys have just been killing it today. So love to see it. Bring that fantastic attitude back here tomorrow with your money, and let's make some more trades and make some more money. And until then, folks, stay safe, stay green, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right, that sounds good, 13. Really good stuff. As per usual, we'll catch you on a happy hour today prior to the draft. We'll also catch you tomorrow. Don't forget, we should have Anne Marie back tomorrow. So any of those option plays that you folks want to get ready for next week, I know we got a ton of AI earnings next week. We'll get those going. We can take a look at see what Carr's doing. Maybe we have an options trade on that one. We shall see. Also, we're going to have Mark Petrino in the morning. So remember, stick around for that webinar. It should be awesome. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We will catch you tomorrow.